Chapter 161, Shrouding the Heavens World Chain Mission. Advanced Chain Mission, Detecting World C-FEFNU 34. Shrouding the Heavens World, invaded by transcendence of the mysterious heavenly lineage. The three great heavenly emperors are being suppressed by transcendence of the mysterious lineage. First part of the mission now issued, assist the 9 heavens and 10 earths in clearing the foreign invaders. Mission requirement, clear out the dark creatures from the foreign land. Mission reward, 100 origin points. Special note, this is the first part of an advanced chain mission. Maximum number of participants, 10. Participation is not recommended for those below rank 6. A notification from the chat group suddenly chimed in Yue Ming's mind while he was secluded. An advanced chain group mission issued by the chat group, and the first part alone rewarded 100 origin points. The higher the reward, the higher the risk. Not recommended to accept without rank 6 strength or above? Yue Ming repeated to himself. Considering the level of Shrouding the Heavens world, that made sense. Accepting such a mission without rank 6 would be suicide. No wonder the chat group warned those below rank 6 to stay away. In the rank system, rank 5 corresponds to Great Emperor, rank 6 to Immortal King, rank 7 to Immortal Emperor. Rank 8, he wasn't sure. Perhaps something beyond the sacrifice Tao. Yue Ming opened his rank panel. Rank, True God, rank 5. Realm, 9 system fusion law, wind, lightning, light, earth, fire, wood, water, space. Time origin law, 13%. Will, eternal true God level will. Genes, 100,000 secret techniques. Heaven severing sword intent, 7th layer. Heaven severing sword technique, 7th form. In the few short centuries he'd spent, his progress had been immense. Thanks to the miniature universe's time acceleration, he had fully comprehended the 3 origin laws of wind, lightning, and light in a single stretch. He then activated the law fusion device, forming the 9-system fusion law, and had even created the 5th, 6th, and 7th forms of the heaven-severing sword technique. He was near a breakthrough to rank 6. The miniature universe could accelerate time, but it had limits, at most 10,081 times. Time acceleration didn't consume divine power, it consumed universe origin. Once the miniature universe's origin was used up, it was extremely difficult to replenish and would take long years to recover. If not for visitors from the origin continent and the need to raise his strength quickly, Yue Ming wouldn't have used it so extensively. Maybe I can accept this advanced chain mission. It could be the chance I need to break through to a chaos dominator in Shrouding the Heavens world, he thought. In the 3,000-dimensional universes, 10th Order True God was the cap. Supreme rules prevented higher breakthroughs. Even with a treasure capable of masking the supreme rule, the rule would detect and obstruct any attempt at a higher breakthrough. So cultivators often traveled to other worlds to advance their realms, then returned to their home world using a treasure to hide the change. Yue Ming glanced at the chat group member count. The chat group is growing, over 500 members now. He had always kept a sliver of his consciousness in the chat group and had watched its development. Many new members were rank 2 or rank 3, with a few rank 4s. But rank 5+ members were still rare. Breaking from rank 4 to rank 5 was a major hurdle. Old members like Liu Ming and Li Jing remained at peak rank 4 after all these years. Li Jing, rank 4. The chat group actually issued an advanced mission, and it's a chain mission. 100 origin points for the first part alone. How many elementary missions would you have to finish to earn that? Battle through the heavens. Shank 4. I've read about the Shrouding the Heavens world. It's extremely dangerous, capable of destroying heaven and earth at any turn. Even the chat group advises against participating without rank 6. That shows how deadly it is. A record of a mortal's journey to immortality. Liu Ming, rank 4. I'm already at the Mahayana stage. Breaking to rank 5 may have to wait until after immortal ascension. As for rank 6, I'd probably need to be a Tao ancestor before even having a chance. 10 directions Martial Saint. Wangbu 3. Look at the notification, everyone. Someone actually accepted the mission. There really are people who aren't afraid of death. Are they planning to gamble their life away for a chance? They're desperate. Wangbu had become an old hand in the group and was active enough to recognize many members. They checked. The person who accepted the mission was a rank 1 newcomer, truly courting death for the sake of a future. Liu Shanshen, rank 5. Lu Ming, this mission is in your world. Don't you have anything to say? Lu Ming 5. What is there to say? I'm practically scared to death. Didn't you see the mission description? The 3 great heavenly emperors from the future timeline are being suppressed by transcendence of the mysterious lineage. Those are transcendents. If the 3 great heavenly emperors can't stop them, won't the shrouding the heavens world be destroyed? Liu Shanshen, rank 5. Then I can't help you. I don't plan to accept this mission either. The chat group advises against participating without rank 6. Origin points are tempting, but life matters more. Yue Ming, rank 5. I'll accept this mission. The first part is only to help the 9 heavens and 10 earths clear out the foreign land. The enemies will at most be Immortal King level. I'm about to break to rank 6, so I'm confident enough. Immortal King level was rank 6. Once he broke through, Yue Ming felt more confident, but he couldn't do it alone. He needed to take Li Shanhe with him. Together, they'd be even stronger. Liu Shanshen, rank 5. You're about to break to rank 6. Congratulations. It looks like you're about to become our chat group's second administrator. What have you been up to all these years? We hardly see you online. I've been cultivating in seclusion. I have kept a sliver of my consciousness in the chat group, but I've been invisible, just lurking. You just didn't notice. Yue Ming, rank 5. Li Shanhe, you've been hiding for too long. Come out. Any thoughts? Want to accept the mission together? The rewards are substantial. Yue Ming didn't think Li Shanhe wasn't around. An advanced chain mission would surely draw her attention. Li Shan, rank 6. Cough. What do you mean by lurking? I just saw you all talking and didn't want to interrupt. This mission isn't as simple as you imagine. I'm hesitating, unsure whether to take it. Lu Ming, rank 5. Damn it. Is it that dangerous? Am I doom panicked? If even Li Shanhe hesitated, it showed how grave the mission was. But Lu Ming had nowhere to hide. He wasn't an administrator who could transmigrate to other worlds. Lu Ming, rank 5. If there's no other choice, I'll wait for the next elementary mission and hide in that world for now. After a few days of slacking, I'll start updating 3 chapters daily tomorrow. I'm really a bit tired. Updating 3 chapters a day has been squeezing all my time, and after more than 20 consecutive days, I'm exhausted. Chapter 162, Lu Ming's Heavenly Court. Li Shanhe, Coiling Dragon, Tier 6, said, "Didn't you notice this is an advanced series mission? The first part isn't that hard, just helping the 9 heavens and 10 earths clear out dark creatures in a foreign land. If Yue Ming can break through to Tier 6, we have a good chance of finishing it. But it's a series mission," he continued. "There will definitely be more installments. Everyone knows the situation in the Shrouding the Heavens world. The weird race has many quasi-immortal emperors, the equivalent of Tier 7 immortal emperors and sacrificial Dao experts, 20 of them in total. Who can guarantee we'll be able to complete the later missions?" His worries were well-founded. Once you accepted a mission, success was optional. Failure or withdrawal had heavy consequences. If you failed, you might die in the mission world. If you withdrew mid-mission, the chat group deducted a large number of origin points, equal to the mission's reward. The first part of the Shrouding the Heavens World series rewarded 100 origin points. Later parts would only be higher. Failing could cost you hundreds or even thousands of origin points. Li Jing, Global Martial Arts, Tier 4, frowned. "So we have to be careful. A series mission will ultimately lead to confronting the weird race. If we fail, won't we end up working for the chat group forever to pay off the debt?" Yue Ming, Swallowed Star, Tier 5, replied, "The chat group issued the mission because there's a chance to complete it. Risk and reward are proportional. The bigger the risk, the greater the return. We won't know the outcome without trying." Li Shanhe raised an eyebrow. "You don't usually like taking risks. Why the change of heart? The Shrouding the Heavens World series is extremely dangerous. After the first part, with our current strength, the later missions would be almost impossible." Yue Ming's face went serious. "I don't have a choice. The origin continent may send invaders into the dimensional universe. They could send god kings in person. I have to improve my strength quickly. He preferred quiet cultivation, but the threat from the origin continent forced his hand. To break through to Chaos Dominator, he would either have to enter reincarnation and go to the origin continent or travel to other worlds. Only a middle thousand worlds or above could sustain that. Yue Ming's miniature universe was currently 10 billion light-years. Breaking to Chaos Dominator would make it ravenous for energy, expanding to at least 1 trillion light-years. No minor thousand worlds could support that. If he waited for the chat group to issue another intermediate mission, the origin continent might already have invaded. Li Shanhe grinned. Since you're decided, I'll go crazy with you this once. You're right, no rewards without risk. Yue Ming nodded. Then let's accept the mission together. As before, everyone prepare for 3 days. We'll depart after that. Lu Ming, shrouding the heavens, Tier 5, cleared his throat. Ahem, I've accepted the mission too. I don't really have a choice. This time I'm counting on you two. After Yue Ming and Li Shanhe accepted, the chat group pinged with the mission confirmation. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming had accepted as well. Since he couldn't avoid it, he'd bitten the bullet and joined the mission. Yue Ming noticed he'd been mentioned. Opening the message, he saw a new member, Tier 1, fawning and asking Yue Ming to look after him during the mission. Yue Ming skimmed it and ignored it. A Tier 1 newcomer accepting an advanced series mission was courting death. He was probably a recent transmigrant, clueless and eager to be protagonist. If he was lucky, he might withdraw and spend the rest of his life paying back the chat group. If unlucky, he'd die in the Shrouding the Heavens world. 3 days later, in the Heavenly Court's deliberation hall, the court assembled. The era was one of multiple emperors. The Heavenly Court's authority pressed down across the world, its orders obeyed without question. 2 great heavenly emperors stood above the hall, their power suffusing the universe. Among them, Heavenly Emperor Lu Ming was renowned as the only true immortal of his generation, unmatched above and below the heavens, the one who had once pacified 7 great life-restricted zones. Besides Lu Ming, the court boasted many great emperors. Ye Fan had attained the major achievement of the saint body and become an emperor who could rival great emperors even before his Tao proclamation. The Azure Emperor, Empress Ruthless, Great Emperor Gai Juyu of the 9 Nether, the Golden Crow Great Emperor, the major achievement Saint Body, and the Human Devil Great Emperor stood among the leaders. There were also numerous supremes who had not yet initiated dark turmoil. When Lu Ming pacified the life-restricted zones, he brought most of them under the Heavenly Court's command. Its strength was unprecedented. Honored guests? Pangbo teased. Anyone you call an honored guest can't be ordinary. Who are they? Some reclusive true immortal. Pangbo, though only a quasi-emperor, held high status in the court. He was a fellow countryman and close friend of the 2 heavenly emperors, a classmate and childhood friend of Lu Ming and Ye Fan. Lu Ming had transmigrated into the Shrouding the Heavens world as an earthling and, after following Ye Fan and the others through several adventures, climbing Mount Tai, riding the 9 dragons pulling coffin to the ancient Star of Beidou, had risen through the ranks with the help of the chat group and his golden finger. He'd even saved the Azure Emperor, Gai Juyo, and the major achievement Saint Body, changing the original course of history. After founding the Heavenly Court, he had brought them all into it. Lu Ming had originally planned to grow slowly, wait until he broke through to Immortal King, or until Ye Fan and Empress Ruthless reached Mortal World Immortal, then lead the Heavenly Court into the Immortal Realm. The weird lineage's sudden invasion had forced his plans to accelerate. I can't say explicitly who they are, Lu Ming answered, but they're not from our 9 heavens and 10 earths. They are human, from a foreign land. One of them has the strength of an immortal king. Another is close to breaking through, at least quasi-immortal king level. That announcement drew worried looks. If beings of that strength wanted to harm the 9 heavens and 10 earths, who could stop them? You can be assured of one thing, Lu Ming said. They are my friends and won't harm our realm. A major change has occurred here. I invited them to help. He couldn't explain the weird lineage linked to the foreign land, so he kept the explanation vague. The court's concerns were obvious. They feared he might be inviting wolves to the fold. But Lu Ming's reassurances settled everyone. Many present owed him their lives. Many had been saved by him. Coupled with his achievements in pacifying the dark and sealing the 7 life-restricted zones, his prestige was unquestioned. The Heavenly Court relaxed, trusting the man who had never let them down. Chapter 163, The Origin of the Weird Race in Shrouding the Heavens. This time, the mission to the Shrouding the Heavens world is to help the 9 heavens and 10 earths purge the dark creatures from that foreign land. It may be a long time before I can return. After accepting the assignment, Yue Ming immediately called a giant axe meeting. He had to put everything in order so he could leave for the Shrouding the Heavens world without worries. Ever since the human race unified the primordial universe, he had noticed the universe lords growing a little arrogant, so he ordered that no one was allowed to enter the universe sea without his permission, and that nothing should be touched until his return. Naturally, he didn't tell everyone the real reason for his seclusion. He gave the usual excuse about needing time in retreat. Is this the Shrouding the Heavens world? A figure cloaked in chaos mist and radiating an overwhelmingly terrifying aura appeared out of nowhere, descending into the Shrouding the Heavens world. At his arrival, the laws of the Jetian universe surged, the Tao bowed, and cosmic law began to orbit around him. Yue Ming, welcome to Shrouding the Heavens. Lu Ming's silhouette materialized beside him, looking at Yue Ming with obvious warmth and some awe. The pressure rolling off Yue Ming made it clear his cultivation had advanced far beyond Lu Ming's. It's only been a few millennia since we last met, and your realm has risen so much. No wonder you said in the chat group you were about to break through to the 6th tier. You weren't lying. Lu Ming and Yue Ming had taken many missions together and had met in reality several times. They were old acquaintances and quickly fell into friendly conversation. You're getting flashy, Yue Ming said, spreading his will to cover the whole Jetian universe. He already knew much of what had been done in the Jetian universe and what Lu Ming had accomplished in the Shrouding the Heavens world. You actually formed the Heavenly Court and call yourselves the 2 emperors with Ye Fan. Aren't you worried the future Emperor Ye will come looking for trouble? Lu Ming's expression flickered. At first, he had worried. The future Emperor Ye was an above-sacrifice Tao realm existence, a being rivaling the 8th tier. But once Lu Ming realized he couldn't leave the Shrouding the Heavens world, he stopped holding back. Years had passed, and the future Emperor Ye had not come. Ye Fan and I are brothers. We get along just fine, Lu Ming replied a little defensively. Li Shanhe has arrived. Both men looked in the same direction as a vast, terrifying aura fell over the Jetian universe. They didn't need to guess who it was. Instantly, they teleported across half the universe and found themselves under a starry sky where Li Shanhe had just descended. His presence was overwhelming, unmistakably that of a 6th tier. He stepped on a hazy river of time and space, and every Tao seemed to lie beneath his feet. Wherever he stood felt like the origin, the center of everything. Simply seeing that majestic figure made countless beings, even peak great emperors and supreme ancient emperors, tremble and fall to their knees. Could you be any less subtle? Tone down the aura a bit. Lu Ming grumbled. He was sure Li Shanhe was staging the spectacle on purpose. As a 6th tier great senior, one must have a grand entrance when descending upon your universe, Li Shanhe replied with a chuckle. He stepped over to join them, and under Lu Ming's guidance, the 3 went on to the Heavenly Court located on the Big Dipper ancient star. Is that the 3 lives bronze coffin? As soon as they entered the Heavenly Court, Yue Ming's gaze pierced through layers of obstruction and fixed on a huge bronze coffin. It was about 30 meters long, its surface etched with strange patterns and radiating an undying aura. The bronze was mottled with age, as if it had endured countless years. At the coffin's front were 9 bony dragons, their tails chained to the coffin with iron links. The dragons were black, covered in runes, with crystal-clear horned crests that glowed purple, giving them an eerie, mysterious air. Yes, it's the 3 lives bronze coffin. I've been collecting it since I found it, Lu Ming said. Anyone who had read the Shrouding the Heavens records would know the coffin's origin. It had been crafted by an above-sacrifice Tao expert for himself. Countless years ago, an unrivaled above-sacrifice Tao being rose in the shrouding the heavens world. For unknown reasons, he fell gravely ill, and to avoid harming his world, immolated himself. He scattered his ashes into a stone jar, placed the jar in the bronze coffin, and buried it on a plateau. Over time, the terrain shifted. The coffin and jar were unearthed, and the ashes spilled. Some ancestors of the weird race were contaminated by those ashes, leading to the birth of the undying weird race. That is the origin of the coffin and the origin of the weird race. About the weird race's origin, I asked Sectmaster Tongchen not long ago, Li Shanhe said. He said the heavens' weird lineage once invaded the shrouding the heavens world. The owner of the coffin might have become tainted while resisting that invasion, and to prevent destroying his own world, immolated himself. He meant well, but he couldn't foresee how the ages would shift and unearth his remains. Why don't you sell the coffin? It should fetch a lot of origin points, right? Yue Ming asked, curious. A relic left by an above-sacrifice Tao expert ought to be at least a 7th-tier supreme treasure, if not more. The coffin itself isn't a supreme treasure, Yue Ming explained. Its bronze is ordinary. What makes it special is the mysterious power left in it by that above-sacrifice Tao. The 9 bone dragons are merely an external manifestation of that power. Without that residue, it would be nothing more than a bronze casket. Yue Ming had thought of selling it. He wasn't exactly rolling in wealth, but the material value was low, and the real power couldn't be sold like ordinary treasure. Come, I'll introduce you to the great emperors of the heavenly court, Yue Ming said, leading them deeper into the heavenly court toward the council hall. The great emperors had received word of their arrival and were already waiting in the hall. Let me introduce you to. This is my good brother Ye Fan. People also call him Ye He. He's the pillar of my heavenly court. As Yue Ming spoke, the slight smile on Ye Fan's face stiffened and slowly darkened until he could barely hide his glare. I am Ye Fan. Welcome to Heavenly Court as our guests, he said with forced politeness. Ye Fan, one of the heavenly emperors of Heavenly Court, was far more composed than Yue Ming. He greeted the visiting emperors with quiet courtesy and entertained them warmly. Yue Ming went on with his introductions. This is Great Emperor Leng, arguably the most astonishing and talented great emperor in history. Yue Ming's lavish praise left the usually aloof Great Emperor Leng visibly awkward. She shot Yue Ming a cool look. Yue Ming then named the rest. Great Emperor Qing, Gaijuyo, Great Emperor Jinwu, the Major Achievement Saint Body, and Human Devil. All Great Emperor-level combatants. He also introduced the Supreme Ancient Emperors. Yue Ming had subdued when he swept through the life-restricted zones, like Qilin, Ancient Emperor, and Divine Silkworm Ancient Emperor, those who had not spawned dark turmoil. The Supreme Ancient Emperors who had opened dark turmoil and devoured countless essences to extend their lives had long ago been killed by Yue Ming. Below the Great Emperor rank, only a few like Pangbo, who was on good terms with Yue Ming, had the privilege to attend the council hall. Li Shanhe frowned. He'd assumed Great Emperor Leng, Ye Fan, and the others had already reached mortal world immortal status, at least quasi-immortal king level, and could help with the looming mission to obliterate the foreign lands. But to his surprise, the Heavenly Court's only true immortal was Yue Ming. Perhaps the Zetian universe plotline hadn't yet reached its late stage. Ye Fan and Great Emperor Leng simply hadn't ascended to mortal world immortals. Hearing Li Shanhe's complaint, Ye Fan and the others were displeased, but Yue Ming had already told them Li Shanhe was roughly comparable to an immortal king, so no one argued. What can I do about it? Time is a factor, Yue Ming replied. Someone like Ye Fan, who's cultivated for less than 10,000 years, is doing well to be a great emperor. You can't expect him to be an immortal overnight. In the original Zetian universe timeline, Ye Fan became a great emperor at 2,800 years old and, after living 9 lives in reverse, achieved mortal world immortality over more than 600,000 years. Yue Ming's arrival had accelerated Ye Fan's rise by a few centuries, but the overall timescale hadn't changed. From the start of the plot until now, fewer than 10,000 years had passed. Nowhere near enough time for Ye Fan or Great Emperor Leng to reach mortal world immortal. I might have a solution, Yue Ming interjected. I own a miniature universe that can accelerate time by 10,081 times, roughly 10,000-fold. You can cultivate inside it. Time acceleration, however, consumes universe origin and takes a long time to recover. To speed recovery, I need origin shards. You decide whether to use them. Their strength truly was insufficient for the coming campaign in the foreign lands. Without mortal world immortals, they could contribute little. Yue Ming's offer was a godsend, but it wasn't free. It would cost origin shards. How many origin shards will it roughly need? Yue Ming asked, wincing inwardly. He'd spent most of his origin points to break through to the true immortal realm. He didn't have many left. One origin shard is worth 0.01 origin points, Yue Ming said. I'll charge 1 shard per year of accelerated cultivation. 1 shard will make 1 year in the outside world equal about 10,000 years inside the miniature universe. Yue Ming had slightly inflated the terms. A shard priced at 0.01 origin points could have sustained 10 years of acceleration, but he claimed it would only sustain 1. It was a small markup and gave Yue Ming a chance to continue studying the time origin law. All right, I'll give you 50 origin shards. Accelerate time for 50 years, Yue Ming decided. 50 shards would yield 500,000 years inside the miniature universe. Enough time, they hoped, for Ye Fan, Great Emperor Leng, and the others to break through to mortal world immortal. We shouldn't collect origin shards ourselves, Yue Ming warned when others offered to help. Origin shards are fragments of world origin. They couldn't be gathered casually. Yue Ming prepared to deploy the miniature universe. His domain was enormous, 1 billion light-years in diameter, and deploying it among the crowded life planets of the star domain would crush countless worlds. Yue Ming suggested they go to the universe boundary, a dim region of star sky with almost no life planets. At the boundary, under everyone's stunned eyes, Yue Ming produced the Hongmeng bead and unfolded his miniature universe. Once inside, find a secluded place to cultivate. Control your power and don't damage my miniature universe, he warned. He had already activated the roughly 10,000-fold time acceleration, and the universe origin began to flood outward, quickly consumed by the process. Fuse, Yue Ming said, taking the 50 origin shards Yue Ming had provided and integrating them into the universe origin space. The origin surged, the miniature universe shimmered and seemed to expand. Time passed imperceptibly. Inside the miniature universe, life stretched and transformed. Over 10,000 years of internal effort later, Yue Ming finally comprehended the time origin law, the last of the 10 great basic origin laws. Time was a higher origin law, notoriously difficult. Even with the enhancement of the Bodhi tree and Yue Ming's prior mastery of many origin laws, it still took him over 10,000 years to fully understand it. Fusion. He activated his law fusion device and folded the time origin law into his 9-system fusion law. The fusion completed, the 9-system fusion law and the time origin law synthesized into a new whole, the chaos law. 50 years passed in the outside world. Inside the miniature universe, those 50 years became 500,000. In that vast span, everyone advanced dramatically. Ye Fan, Great Emperor Leng, Great Emperor Qing, and Divine Silkworm. Ancient Emperor all broke through to mortal world immortal. Yue Ming's own progress was enormous. Having now comprehended the 10 great basic origin laws and mastered the chaos law, he devised the 8th form of the heaven-severing sword technique, a chaos dominator level offensive secret technique. He then cultivated the 8th and 9th layers of heaven-severing sword intent. His will surged to the peak of the Chaos Dominator rank, 1 step from a God King level will. Yue Ming's status after the breakthrough. Rank, True God, 5th rank. Realm, Chaos Law. Will, Chaos Dominator level. Genes, 100,000 times. Secret techniques, Heaven-severing sword intent. Heaven-severing sword technique 8th form. Next, it's time to break through to the Chaos Dominator realm, Yue Ming told himself. His law comprehension and will had reached the Chaos Dominator rank. Now he only needed to consume more origin shards to accelerate the evolutionary progress of the miniature universe and push himself over the threshold. Chapter 165, Breaking Through the Road to Immortality. Everyone, congratulations on your breakthrough to mortal world immortal. From now on, your lifespan is effectively eternal. 500,000 years have passed, and time acceleration in the miniature universe has ceased. It's time for you to come out of seclusion. In the origin space of the miniature universe, Yue Ming opened his eyes slowly, and his voice echoed across the 100,000 heavens, startling Ye Fan and the others. In the 500,000 years of seclusion, 5 mortal world immortals had emerged. Ye Fan, Great Emperor Henrin, Great Emperor Qing, Duan Dai, and the divine silkworm, Ancient Emperor. The rest, seeing immortal ascension as hopeless, had left after only a few thousand years. They could not afford to waste lifespans. The great emperors of the shrouding the heavens world, though at the peak of the human Tao, only had lifespans of 10,000 years. 500,000 years would exhaust dozens of their lives. Even though Lu Ming had bought many treasures from the chat group mall to extend their lifespans, nothing could sustain them for hundreds of thousands of years. The 9 heavens and 10 earths are too damaged. If I try to break through to Chaos Dominator here, I'm afraid more than half the universe will collapse. Having left the miniature universe's origin space, Yue Ming found that he had already mastered the Chaos Law, and his will had reached the peak of Chaos Dominator. He was ready to break through at any moment. But the Zetian universe was too fractured. Its origin energy could not support the kind of massive devouring required by the cultivation system of the swallowed star world. Undying Realm, Universe Exalt, Universe Lord, and True God all demanded immense universe origin energy for each breakthrough. Even with origin shards, expanding the miniature universe during a breakthrough would consume so much origin energy that the Zetian universe couldn't afford it. Forcing a breakthrough here would collapse more than half the universe. The shrouding the heavens world's cultivation system was the opposite. It relied more on tapping internal potential than on external origin energy. Even in an era of Dharma decline, someone with extraordinary talent could, generation after generation, reverse fate and eventually become a mortal world immortal. Desolate Heaven Emperor Shihao was the exemplar. During the chaotic ancient era, he found a heaven-connecting place that let him live through rebirths. With a drop of his blood reflecting the heavens, he descended into the era of Emperor Fall and forced his way through 8 generations in reverse. Although he hadn't achieved immortal ascension then, his combat power far exceeded the threshold, and he could contend with true immortals. I can only break through to Chaos Dominator after entering the immortal domain, Yue Ming murmured. He had to postpone the breakthrough. He activated the Hongmeng bead and stored the miniature universe inside the Hongmeng world. It seems you're about to break through. Li Shanhe's figure appeared. He had also cultivated in the miniature universe for the 500,000 years and made great progress, but a 7th tier breakthrough was still distant. The 7th tier was a watershed and much harder than it looked. A 6th tier breakthrough could happen at any time, but the Zetian universe is too broken. I'll break through after entering the immortal domain, Yue Ming said. That's a relief. Li Shanhe exhaled. If Yue Ming couldn't reach the 6th tier, Li Shanhe's burdens in the upcoming mission would double. Yue Ming, thank you, Lu Ming said as he flew over with Ye Fan and the others, cupping his hands in thanks. After 500,000 years, Lu Ming's cultivation had also improved to the level of a quasi-immortal king. When do we enter the immortal domain? They asked. Yue Ming wanted to reach the 6th tier as soon as possible. He felt uneasy otherwise. He knew that though Desolate Heaven Emperor had sealed the 9 heavens and 10 earths and the immortal domain off from the boundary sea, that seal could be compromised. The chat group's first assigned task, help the 9 heavens and 10 earths clear out the foreign lands, implied the seal had problems. The dark creatures beyond the boundary sea could break through at any time. Give me 3 years to settle things. In 3 years, we'll strike at the immortal ascension road. With Li Shanhe's help, even if the timing isn't ideal, we can force our way into the immortal domain. There were many affairs to arrange in the Zetian universe, and entering the immortal domain required the right time and place, both of which they would prepare for. The location, everyone knew, was Flying Immortal Star. The timing, however, was not now, unless they were ready to fight. 3 years passed in a flash. On the appointed day, Dozens of great emperor-level and higher powerhouses gathered above flying immortal star, their terrifying auras pressing down on everything. In the 500,000 years of the miniature universe, while only 5 mortal world immortals had been produced, 18 great emperor-level powerhouses had risen. Many who had the potential to become emperors, Pangbo, Jiang Taishu, Saint Prince, Black Emperor, GZ, and others, had succeeded with Lu Ming's assistance. Boom. Li Shan suddenly acted. With a single casual strike, he shattered the seal of flying immortal star. Runic lights flashed, and immortal radiance shot into the 9 heavens. At the moment the seal broke, 3 white streams of light shot toward the entrance of the immortal ascension road and burst inside. Heavenly Venerate of Annihilation, Master of God Ruins, Heavenly Venerate of Freedom, so you rats from the stinking ditch still dared to come out. Lu Ming's expression went cold. He had leveled the 7 great life-restricted zones, but when so many Supremes had been confined there, a few would inevitably slip through. Lu Ming had wanted to eliminate future trouble, but had never found these few. He had searched the universe and come up empty. He hadn't expected that opening the Immortal Ascension Road would cause these fugitives to expose themselves. Killing intent surged from Lu Ming, but Li Shanhe moved first. Without any visible motion, the 3 figures were torn apart into a mist of blood. These Supremes, self-severed Daos, not even complete great emperors, were no different from ants before Li Shanhe. Seeking death, Li Shanhe sneered. To try sneaking into the Immortal Ascension Road right before his eyes was courting death. Is this the Immortal Ascension Road left by Desolate Heaven Emperor in the chaotic ancient era? Someone asked. Look, there's a stela. They all turned to see a stone tablet at the entrance. 3 carved characters glowed faintly, Immortal Ascension Road. The emperors of the Heavenly Court remembered what Lu Ming had said about Desolate Heaven Emperor and the Ascension Road. Seeing those words carved in the ancient script shook them all. Everyone, let's go. Li Shanhe and Yue Ming were the first to step onto the road. Lu Ming and Ye Fan followed, along with the other emperors of the Heavenly Court, and soon the whole group had entered. With Li Shanhe leading, the path was smooth and unimpeded. Anything that tried to stop them was simply exploded away. Chapter 166, The Seal Left by the Desolate Heaven Emperor. I sense a world, but it isn't the immortal realm. It must be the strange world from the original story. Li Shanhe, who was walking at the head of the group, halted and quietly transmitted his insight to Yue Ming and Lu Ming. Yue Ming had already felt it himself. The Immortal Ascension Road wouldn't arrive this quickly. This had to be the strange world. Emperor Wuxi should be in there. Let's go help him. And while we're at it, finish that Birdman, the undying Heavenly Emperor, Lu Ming said through clenched teeth. He had a particular grudge against the undying Heavenly Emperor and also wanted to recruit Emperor Wuxi into the Heavenly Court. Wuxi was an astonishing talent with the potential to break into the sacrificial Tao and perhaps even surpass it, if not for the stagnation during the Saint Ruins era. With a casual strike, Yue Ming shattered the membrane of the Immortal Ascension Road and tore open a gap. Beyond it lay a vast world, a realm almost comparable to the 9 heavens and 10 earths, yet situated between those heavens and the immortal realm. It was close enough to the immortal realm that rich, undying essences seeped into it, making its longevity substances far superior to those of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The distant sound of a great battle carried to them, clashing blows interspersed with the tolling of bells. A man in white, with an arresting presence, was surrounded and under attack. That white-clad figure was Emperor Wuxi. His opponents were the undying Heavenly Emperor and a nameless, true immortal native to the strange world. Great Emperor, the Black Emperor barked and launched himself forward like a black arrow. Ye Fan's face tightened and he followed at once. 3 mortal world immortals were already engaged. If the Black Emperor charged in recklessly, he would be courting death. Despite their constant bickering, Ye Fan and the Black Emperor shared a deep bond. Seeing him endangered, Ye Fan did not hesitate. He sacrificed the Heavenly Emperor Cauldron to propel himself into the fray. Dead dog, mind your strength. Don't make this worse. I'll help Emperor Wuxi. Ye Fan snarled. He grabbed the Black Emperor by the tail, flung him back, then rode the Heavenly Emperor Cauldron straight at the undying Heavenly Emperor. With Ye Fan restraining him, the undying Heavenly Emperor's pressure dropped and Emperor Wushi's own true power became evident. He had been barely checked by his two opponents before, but now, freed from that constraint, he turned fully on the nameless true immortal. The nameless immortal, unable to withstand Wushi's might, was quickly routed and ultimately slain by Emperor Wushi. When the nameless true immortal fell, the undying Heavenly Emperor's expression shifted. He forced a bitter laugh. There are no grudges in this cosmos that cannot be settled. Breaking into the immortal realm is not simple. It not only needs 3 mortal world immortals to strike together, it also requires precise coordinates. I can take you there. Join forces with me. No need for you, Ye Fan replied, and unleashed his peerless art. The 9 secrets united as one. The saying ran true. 9 secrets combined, invincible under heaven. The Heavenly Emperor Cauldron suppressed all Tao as Ye Fan's invincible technique erupted into immortal light and pierced the undying Heavenly Emperor's immortal phoenix form. The undying Heavenly Emperor laughed through a cough of blood. When I was young, I accidentally fell through a rare fissure in the Void Realm, fallen from the immortal realm into the mortal world. I have always wanted to return. His body began to fracture, his divine soul snapping under the assault. In moments, he turned to ash. Immortal blood splattered across Ye Fan as the undying Heavenly Emperor died. The kill sent Ye Fan's aura surging to a new peak. Emperor Wushi, I have long admired your name, Yue Ming said, flying over with a smile after the battle. The admiration was genuine. Emperor Wushi's legend had been one of unstoppable supremacy. No matter the foe, he swept them away with absolute dominance. It was easy to see why he inspired such reverence. Emperor Wushi regarded Yue Ming with a measured gaze, moved in some quiet way. After a moment's consideration, he accepted Yue Ming's invitation to join the Heavenly Court and to break through the immortal ascension road with them into the immortal realm. There's still something here, Li Shanhe suddenly said, turning and staring at a point in the void. Without warning, he reached into the air, pulled hard, and hauled a figure out of the void realm. With a crushing squeeze from his hand, the figure exploded. Immortal blood spattered back into the void. A proud mortal world immortal was dead in an instant. Emperor Zun? Someone breathed. The fallen figure was indeed Emperor Zun, his origin shrouded in mystery. Rumors had long suggested he was human. He had once been the last celestial venerable of the mythological era, only to vanish and reappear later as if reborn, absorbing the universe's essences to become peerless. He had founded the ancient heavenly court and dominated an age. In the original story, Emperor Zun died in a careless, abrupt fight. Here the end was even more tragic. Discovered by Li Shanhe and seized across time and space, he was crushed before he could utter a sound. "Move on," Li Shanhe ordered. They followed under his lead down the immortal ascension road until they reached its terminus, a colossal immortal pass. Passing through it would grant entry into the immortal realm, if the pass could be shaken. It normally required the force of 3 mortal world immortals acting in concert, but with Li Shanhe present, there was no need. With a single casual punch, he shattered the immortal pass entirely. They stepped through. The so-called immortal realm was not whole. It had been shattered in the Great War of the chaotic ancient era. What they entered was a fragment, a vast, boundless fragment, but only a piece of the original immortal realm. Even fragmented, it was far richer than the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It was here that Yue Ming hoped to complete his breakthrough to Chaos Dominator. "Let's go see the seal the desolate Heaven Emperor left," Yue Ming said. He suspected that something was wrong with it and wanted to confirm. Li Shanhe and Yue Ming exchanged glances. Both had the same doubt. Otherwise, the chat group would not have assigned this mission. They pressed deeper into the immortal realm until they reached its darkest heart. There, countless supreme laws wove together into a colossal, mysterious seal, a wall that separated the immortal realm from the world sea. But the seal bore faint cracks, and those cracks were spreading. If left unchecked, the seal might fail within a few thousand years. The 3 stood in silence before it, aware that whatever lay behind those fissures could reshape the fate of worlds. Chapter 167, Breakthrough to Rank 6, Part 1. The seal left by the desolate Heaven Emperor really is flawed. It looks like it will completely shatter in at most 2 to 3,000 years. Yue Ming's face was grave as he stared at the mysterious seal at the edge of the darkness, a lattice of countless immortal emperor laws interwoven. If the seal broke and the immortal realm reconnected with the boundary sea, dark creatures would pour into the immortal realm, and the 9 heavens and 10 earths would not be spared. No wonder the chat group's advanced serialized mission, Shrouding the Heavens World, began with helping the 9 heavens and 10 earths eradicate the invading dark creatures. Only 2 to 3,000 years until the seal fails. Yue Ming's expression hardened. That was an alarmingly short time. It would be nearly impossible for him to break through to the immortal king realm within that span unless he had a vast stock of origin points. The original timeline had Ye Fan and the others entering the immortal realm and cultivating for millions of years. Only after they rose to the quasi-immortal emperor tier did the seal finally collapse. Even then, they still couldn't drive the dark creatures from the boundary sea and had to travel back along the river of time to beg the desolate Heaven Emperor for help. Now the seal was failing millions of years early, a virtual death sentence. How could they possibly resist such an invasion? First, we repair the immortal realm, Li Shanhe said. Merge the strange world with the immortal realm and use the immortal realm fragment world from the 3 lives bronze coffin. That should restore the realm by about 50 to 60%. But a proper repair will take time. The world origin needs to recover slowly. During that process, all of you will have to refine and sort the Great Tao laws yourselves. As for the seal breaking, Yue Ming can break through to rank 6 whenever he needs. Once Yue Ming ascends, with the 2 of us here, we should be able to hold off the initial wave of the dark invasion. Li Shanhe patted Yue Ming's shoulder, teleported above the immortal realm, opened the 3 lives bronze coffin, and withdrew the immortal realm fragment world. Under Li Shanhe's control, that fragment drew in countless other immortal realm shards and fused them together. In a matter of years, more than 1,000 fragments completed fusion. The immortal realm reformed into a single, vast continent. Li Shanhe did not stop there. He reached out and pulled the strange world to merge with the immortal realm. The collision of 2 worlds shook heaven and earth. The fusion sent ripples through the immortal realm. Immortals and emperors of the heavenly court mobilized, and even Yue Ming helped defend the realm. As the strange world integrated, the immortal realm's continent expanded, immortal matter concentrated, and world origin rebounded significantly. Cultivators felt the change. The restored world origin increased the realm's potential, lifespans lengthened, and breaking through became easier. More cultivators would reach immortal ascension in the coming ages. The immortal realm and the strange world have merged. The realm is initially repaired. The rest is up to you. That's all I can do for now. Li Shanhe ceased his effort. Forcibly merging 2 worlds, even for a rank 6 being, was a tremendous expenditure. You've done enough, Yue Ming said gratefully. If we had to restore the immortal realm ourselves, it would have taken tens of thousands of years. Yue Ming believed the heavenly court's strength would now grow explosively. In such conditions, it was almost certain that countless cultivators would rise to emperors, and many true immortals would appear over the next tens of thousands of years. Yue Ming, when will you break through to rank 6? Now. With the immortal realm initially repaired, Yue Ming had nothing else to do. He intended to go into seclusion immediately and ascend to the Chaos Dominator realm. His comprehension of laws and willpower had already reached the Chaos Dominator level. All that remained was for his miniature universe to evolve to that stage. Then do it here. The 3 of them went to the immortal realm's border. They stood before boundless chaos. Yue Ming produced the Hongmeng bead and released his miniature universe. I'll declare this area a forbidden land, Yue Ming said. No living being may approach. To prevent disturbance, Yue Ming also planned to dispatch several great emperors to watch from afar. You can go into seclusion here. We won't disturb you. The 2 left quickly. Yue Ming vanished into his miniature universe's origin space. Under a Bodhi tree, he sat cross-legged and opened his attribute panel. Swallowed star, Yue Ming rank 5, golden finger, law fusion device, points 82.54 quadrillion, rating 8.6, origin points 19.29. At his current realm, chat group points were effectively useless, novice currency at best. What mattered were origin points. Yue Ming had over 19 origin points, more than enough to break through to the Chaos Dominator realm. He would not need to spend them all. Extract one origin coin. Origin coins were the hard currency across the myriad heavens, condensed from world origin. One origin coin held the equivalent world origin of a normal minor thousand worlds and served as both currency and cultivation resource. In the chat group, an origin coin cost one origin point. As one origin point was deducted, a coin materialized in Yue Ming's hand, glowing with a faint 9-colored light. He had only exchanged for origin shards before. This was his first origin coin. It resembled a 1 yuan coin from Earth, intricately engraved on both faces. Fuse. He merged the origin coin into his origin space and commanded his miniature universe to begin evolving. After devouring the origin coin, the miniature universe expanded explosively, inflating hundreds of light years in an instant. The 100,000 planar spaces within it spun like gears, generating devastating devouring power. The universe became a massive vortex, ravenously consuming chaos chi and immortal realm origin energy. The entire immortal realm continent trembled. The recently healed realm even showed signs of splitting again. Suppress. Fortunately, Li Shanhe, Lu Ming, and the Heavenly Court's immortals acted in time. They quelled the disturbance, and the continent stilled. Yue Ming has begun his breakthrough. I hope he succeeds. Li Shanhe, Lu Ming, and the others stood in the void, watching the immortal realm's border where Yue Ming secluded himself. He will succeed. Lu Ming chose to believe it. He had to. If Yue Ming failed, the consequences would be catastrophic. The desolate Heaven Emperor's seal would collapse in 2,000 to 3,000 years. Relying on a single rank 6 being like Li Shanhe might not be enough to stem the dark invasion. Lu Ming wanted Yue Ming to break through more than anyone. Unlike Li Shanhe and Yue Ming, he had no option to retreat. If the dark creatures poured through and the immortal domain and the 9 heavens and 10 earths fell, Li Shanhe and Yue Ming could still withdraw from the mission world and return to their own realms, at the cost of lost origin points and a mountain of debt to the chat group, possibly years of service to repay it. Lu Ming, however, would face death if he could not stop the invasion. Exchange another origin coin, Yue Ming decided. He swapped 5 origin coins in succession. As the coins fed into his work, his miniature universe, previously 1 billion light-years in diameter, suddenly leapt to 1 trillion light-years. It had reached the Chaos Dominator stage. From a distance, the immortal domain and his miniature universe looked like a basketball sitting on a table. The heart of true God has reached its final stage. One more step, and it will become a chaos space, Yue Ming murmured. When one masters the chaos law and breaks into the Chaos Dominator realm, one can transform the heart of true God into a chaos space. A chaos space can store vast amounts of divine power, infuse and refine laws, and from it shape a miniature universe. Successfully shaping that miniature universe is the key to advancing to the God King realm, just as Zuo Shank's World of Jin had shown. Yue Ming probed his heart of true God, a spherical inner space that protected his soul and stored immeasurable divine power, lined with countless law secret techniques, the 10 basic origin laws and many fusion laws. He commanded them. Laws return to origin, chaos, evolve. Within the heart of true God, the scattered law secret techniques began to fuse, finally knitting into a singular chaos law secret technique. Yue Ming had long since comprehended the chaos law. It was only his realm that had not yet broken. Under his direction, the new chaos secret technique formed a slowly rotating core, an orb of method and will. Rifts in the internal space followed. A first wisp of chaos chi coalesced inside the core. More followed, pouring into the technique sphere and forming a churning mass. Yue Ming pushed his divine power into that mass, converting every last drop into chaos chi, and the mass split into 100,000 camps, each arranged like a 100,000 heavens miniature universe, an architecture he had modeled after the operational structure of those vast systems. The chaos mass began to draw origin energy from the void realm to condense further, but absorption through the heart of true God alone was painfully slow. If he were in the swallowed star world, he could use its secret arts to siphon divine power from the origin land of the universe, but those methods were useless in the shrouding the heavens world. He had to find another source. Extract origin shards. There was no other choice. Yue Ming consumed 50 origin shards. At last, the heart of true God filled. The chaos chi swirled, undergoing a second, deeper evolution, but this time the flow contracted the entire internal space. The spherical heart condensed, shrinking until it was a single, impossibly dense point. Cracks appeared along its membrane. The membrane ruptured with a sound like distant thunder. The heart of true God shattered. Boundless chaos ki poured out, and almost instantly recongealed into a new membrane of pure chaos. The heart had completed its final transformation. A chaos space had been born. Yue Ming had officially broken through to the Chaos Dominator realm, the 6th rank. Inside the newly formed chaos space was a vast chaos world, a boundless, compact reality that would, in time and with careful construction, contain a miniature universe. Every eternal true God who reached Chaos Dominator transformed their heart of true God this way. The layout and quality of a chaos space reflected its owner's comprehension and shaped both their current might and future potential. In Yue Ming's chaos space, 10,000 chaos masses spun like vortices, an arrangement he had designed from his understanding of the 100,000 heaven structure, optimized for his use. He opened his rank panel. The readout confirmed the breakthrough. Rank, Chaos Dominator, 6th rank. Realm, Chaos Law Will, God King Rank Will Genes, 100,000 times Secret Techniques, Heaven Severing Sword Intent, Heaven Severing Sword Technique, 8th form. With his realm elevated, Yue Ming's will had also leapt to God King rank. He could now release the 8th form of the Heaven Severing Sword Technique, a Chaos Dominator rank attack. Next, he thought, I need to carefully shape a miniature universe inside this chaos space to ascend to God King. Shaping a miniature universe required time, absolute precision, and no mistakes. Any error might force a restart and squander years. Once a miniature universe within the chaos space was fully formed, one could devour an external miniature universe and instantly break through to the God King realm. The miniature universe's origin would return and reintegrate into the cultivator's inner world. Zuo Shanka had explained this, and it was standard among cultivators of the origin continent. Those who arrived from the 3,000-dimensional universes via reincarnation often left their miniature universes behind and could not devour them, a setback that could be compensated for with more time. Yue Ming, however, had the Hongmeng bead and could carry his miniature universe with him, so he would not suffer that fate. He took out the Hongmeng bead and sealed his miniature universe inside. Almost at that moment, Li Shanhe, Lu Ming, and the others teleported into the room. Yue Ming, congratulations on breaking into the 6th rank, Li Shanhe exclaimed. Haha, congratulations! You can apply to the Grand Mist for administrator now, Lu Ming added, relief and joy plain on his face. Chapter 169, Promotion to Group Management. How do you get promoted to a chat group administrator? A chat group can have up to 9 administrators, but only those who have broken through to the 6th tier are eligible to apply. Yue Ming had been looking forward to this day for a long time. You can apply now, but whether you become an administrator still needs the cult leader's approval. For you, though, it shouldn't be a problem. Li Shanhe knew Yue Ming was already registered with the cult leader, so Yue Ming's application felt like a done deal. Yue Ming logged into the chat group and found that after breaking through to the 6th tier, a new application feature had appeared in the group backend. He submitted his application immediately. He had expected it might take a while, but to his surprise, the approval came almost instantly. He had become the 2nd administrator. The moment the promotion went through, Yue Ming's nickname in the chat turned from black to gold, glowing and striking. Yue Ming, congratulations. Lu Ming looked envious. As soon as Yue Ming's application was approved, the group pushed a notification, so it was no wonder everyone noticed. Becoming a chat group administrator came with many privileges and, more importantly, a salary. Only administrators who joined the VIP management group and became core members of the transmigrator lineage received that treatment. What's there to envy? You're already a quasi-immortal king. One step from breaking through to Immortal King. Reaching the 6th tier shouldn't be hard for you, Yue Ming said with a smile. If nothing went terribly wrong, Lu Ming would likely break through to the 6th tier and be promoted after him. After all, Lu Ming's golden finger ranked even higher than Yue Ming's and could replicate various talents, physiques, and so on. The only question was whether they could withstand the current crisis. If they failed to resist the dark invasion and the immortal realm, 9 heavens and 10 earths collapsed, then it would all be meaningless. The moment Yue Ming was promoted, the chat group exploded. Hidden members who had been watching stirred and chimed in. Li Jing, 4th tier. I didn't expect Yue Ming to be promoted so quickly. From now on, he'll be a core member of the transmigrator lineage, truly a fresh start. A record of a mortal's journey to immortality. I almost watched Yue Ming join the group and then watched him surpass me step by step. Now he's an administrator and I haven't even reached the 5th tier. It's infuriating to compare yourself to others. It's unpleasant being overtaken. With Yue Ming's promotion, there's 1 fewer administrator slot. Everyone, work harder. Tengjin 5th tier. Sister Shanshan is right. If the new members get promoted before us, what face will we old-timers have? The old members who knew Yue Ming first messaged him privately to congratulate him, and then the whole group buzzed about his promotion. Many new members who didn't know him also sent their congratulations to make introductions. Biohazard 3rd tier. Congratulations on becoming an administrator, senior, 10 Directions Marshal Saint. Wang Bu, congrats, senior. Tang tier. Congratulations, senior. Great, congratulations, senior. Yue Ming didn't act superior. He replied politely in the group, then began checking the permissions he'd gained as an administrator. The biggest benefit was the salary, 1 origin point every 100 years, paid automatically. He also gained access to the red packet function, live broadcast function, the transmigration function, and he received a 10% discount at the chat group mall. What interested him most was the transmigration function. Administrators could transmigrate to the worlds of other group members, but only with the consent of the member whose world they wished to enter. If the member refused, the administrator could not transmigrate. Ding, the Transmigrator Lineage VIP Management Group invites you to join. Do you accept? The system pinged. Accept, Yue Ming answered. After joining, he saw the VIP Management Group had a very large membership. Including him, there were 875 members. Considering there were 98 chat groups, that number wasn't surprising. The count, however, did not include the lineage's 3 10th-tier ancestors or the 98 9th-rank transcendents. Wang Lu, 7th tier. Welcome the new member to the group. I didn't expect a new core member so soon. From chat group number 98. Meng Jie, 7th tier. I know this newcomer. Li Shanhei mentioned a Yue Ming before. He bought a fragment of the Jade Disc of Creation from me once. I didn't expect him to reach the 6th tier so fast. His golden finger must be powerful. Li Xuanming, 7th tier. It's only been a little over 10,000 years since Senior Tongchen created the chat group. First Li Shana, now Yue Ming. Both reached the 6th tier so quickly. Chat group number 98 must be doing well. Cough, you flatter me. Under the cult leader's wise guidance, group number 98 is indeed improving day by day. Everyone, please look after this newly joined member. I was shocked when I first entered the management group. I was stunned by the member list. I didn't expect so many seniors above the 8th tier. Yue Ming scanned the member list and felt his heart skip. Not counting the 3 10th-tier ancestors and the 98 transcendents, more than half of the other members were 8th tier, and most of the rest were 7th tier. 6th tier members were rare, only a dozen or so, including Yue Ming. Wang Liu, 7th tier. Ha ha ha, you'll get used to it. I was shocked when I first joined too. Han Xin, 8th tier. Indeed, don't be surprised. We've cultivated a long time. 8th tier looks powerful, but if you can't break through to the 9th tier and become a transcendent, you're nothing in the all heavens. Li Xuanming, 7th tier. Senior Han Xin is right. If you can't reach the 9th tier, you're just an ant. Only as a transcendent, can you be considered someone in the all heavens and the myriad worlds? Unfortunately, breaking to the ninth tier is terribly hard. Many of our top 8th Order seniors have been stuck at the last step for countless years. Hanshin, 8th tier. Since you're new, I'll give a piece of advice as a senior. Don't rely too much on your golden finger. No matter how good it is, it can at most help you reach the 8th tier. Beyond that, it's useless. If you want to reach the 9th tier and become a transcendent, you must rely on yourself. That's why so many peak 8th seniors here have been unable to break through for a long time. Thank you for the reminder, Senior Hanshin. I'll remember it. Chapter 170, The Core of the Transmigrator Lineage. Senior Hanshin is one of the more kind-hearted transmigrators in the VIP management group. Over countless years, he has mentored many younger transmigrators, and many benefited from his help. But many transmigrators lean too heavily on their golden finger. In the early stage, they advance rapidly, but by the late stage, after breaking through to the 8th Order, it becomes very hard to reach transcendent status, no matter how many years they spend cultivating. As they each allocated a thread of consciousness to the VIP management group, they continued talking in the real world. Li Shanhei did most of the talking, briefing Yue Ming on the members of the VIP management group. Take Hanshin, for example. He was an administrator of Chat Group 16 and an 8th Order peak existence. The world he had transmigrated to was the famous Saint King world. Hanshin's golden finger was powerful, ranked 64th on the golden finger leaderboard, and by relying on it, he had become the first administrator of Chat Group 16. But his dependence on that ability in the early stage had left him cultivating for countless years without breaking through to the 9th Order. Because of his own experience, Hanshin often warned younger transmigrators, use your golden finger, but never become dependent on it. Another was Wang Liu of Chat Group 72, who had transmigrated to the world of a will eternal. That counted as a great world, and with the help of the chat group and his golden finger, he had already broken through to the other shore realm. Meng Jie from Chat Group 87, the one who sold Yue Ming the shard of the Jade Disc of Creation, had transmigrated to the world of eternal life. Li Shanhei spoke at length, outlining dozens of VIP members for Yue Ming. Li Shanhei himself hadn't been in the VIP management group for long, so he didn't know many members beyond the 7th Order. 8th Order and above cultivators rarely went online. They retreated into seclusion to try to break through to the 9th Order and become transcendent. It was normal for them to go into seclusion for millions, or even hundreds of millions, of years at a time. Joining the VIP management group means becoming a core member of the transmigrator lineage. You really ought to thank Sectmaster Tongtian properly, Li Shanhei said. Breaking through to the 6th Order only gave someone the qualification to apply to be an administrator. The group owner still had to approve them. Only administrators could enter the VIP management group and join the core of the transmigrator lineage, and not everyone qualified. It was like each transcendent only had 9 slots. Sectmaster Tongtian had just given Yue Ming one of his. I wonder if I can get Sectmaster Tongtian's approval after I break through to the 6th Order. Lu Ming looked at Yue Ming with envy. He wasn't confident. Sectmaster Tongtian's decisions were unpredictable. Don't worry, you've got a chance, Li Shanhei said, patting Lu Ming on the shoulder. Like Yue Ming, Lu Ming's name was on Tongtian's list, and barring unforeseen events, an administrator post should be his. I just broke through to the 6th Order and need to go into seclusion to cultivate for a while. You two watch the seal and notify me if anything happens, Li Shanhei added. All right. They agreed. Time slid by. Over 2,000 years later, the entire immortal realm trembled. Yue Ming, in seclusion, was startled awake. He looked toward the depths of the immortal realm where the seal left by the desolate Heaven Emperor lay, and saw that the seal had already cracked. He teleported to the seal's side. Li Shanhei and Lu Ming were already there, solemnly watching the fissure. Soon after, Ye Fan, the Empress, Wu Shi, and others rushed over, all grave-faced as they looked at the broken seal. On the other side of the seal, is that the legendary Boundary Sea? Why is it so pitch black? You can't see anything, someone murmured. The seal hadn't shattered completely. Only a crack had opened. Through it, the boundary sea looked like an ink-black void. The boundary sea was akin to the universe sea in the swallowed star world. It contained countless worlds, one of which was the immortal realm. What should we do? Wait for the seal to finish breaking and enter altogether, or send someone through to scout? The seal might take several hundred more years to rupture fully. Some argued it was safer to wait. Others thought sending a scout first was wiser. I'll go first and investigate. Yue Ming's mind moved like a shadow, and his aura folded inward. His life aura vanished. This was the formless and shapeless technique he had obtained after reaching the 100,000-fold gene level. Not only could he conceal his aura perfectly, he could also simulate other auras. If he encountered a dark creature outside the boundary sea, he could imitate it exactly. Be careful. Li Shanhe considered the choice and nodded. There were only 2 sixth-order cultivators in the immortal realm. If Yue Ming didn't go, Li Shanhe would have to. Yue Ming's method of concealing aura was especially fitting. Li Shanhe couldn't even detect it. Divine thought, divine power, every other sensory method failed against Yue Ming's concealment. Were it not for seeing him with his eyes, Li Shanhe wouldn't have registered his presence at all. If Li Shanhe was helpless, others would be even less able to detect Yue Ming. Don't worry. I'm confident, Yue Ming replied. He leaped through the crack and vanished from sight. While traversing the boundary sea, he soon encountered a creature wreathed in darkness, exuding an evil, oppressive aura, the dark creature mentioned in the chat group mission. Yue Ming's own aura shifted. Using his formless technique, he adopted the same signature as the creature. Soul enslavement. The dark creature was not powerful, only at the level of an ordinary true immortal. With his current strength, Yue Ming easily forced the creature's soul into submission. Tell me about the situation in the boundary sea, Yue Ming ordered. Yes, master. Under soul control, the dark creature told him everything it knew. Outside the immortal realm, the boundary sea had fallen under corruption. Dozens of dark immortal kings had already taken root there, and presiding over them was even a quasi-immortal emperor. Only now did Yue Ming understand that the foreign land in the chat group mission didn't mean some world from the chaotic ancient era. It meant the entire boundary sea outside the immortal realm, now tainted by darkness. Holy crap, Yue Ming thought. Dozens of dark immortal kings were bad enough, but a quasi-immortal emperor? That level of power was lethal. Although a quasi-immortal emperor was technically sixth order, there was a huge gap in strength among sixth orders. A newly advanced sixth order like Yue Ming could be killed by a quasi-immortal emperor with a single strike. Unless he broke through to God King, he couldn't contend with one. Yue Ming first skimmed the dark creature's memories with a soul technique, then struck it down. Immediately afterward, he altered his appearance to assume the creature's form. Traveling the boundary sea under that identity would be far safer. The boundary sea rolled like an endless ocean, its towering waves flinging up spray that smelled of broken ancient realms. As Yue Ming traveled deeper, he found the entire sea stained with darkness. Everywhere he went, he met only dark creatures. Decades passed like moments. Using his formless shape-shifting ability, Yue Ming disguised himself as one of the dark creatures and met with almost no trouble. At last, he decided it was time to return. After nearly a century of wandering and probing, Yue Ming had pieced together the true situation of the boundary sea. When he reappeared in the immortal domain, Li Shanhe and the others breathed sighs of relief and crowded around him, pressing for news. Yue Ming told them plainly, the boundary sea had been corrupted by darkness. It was filled with dark creatures, and somewhere within it ruled a dark quasi-immortal emperor, backed by 38 dark immortal kings. He related what he had learned about that quasi-immortal emperor. It had appeared mysteriously in the boundary sea 1,000,000 years ago. No one knew its true origin, only that it had come from beyond the boundary sea. Yue Ming suspected it might be linked to the weird race, perhaps sent to seek out the homeland of the desolate Heaven Emperor. The news unsettled everyone. A dark quasi-immortal emperor? Li Shan frowned. A quasi-immortal emperor was a sixth-tier existence, far beyond most of them. The sixth tier included both immortal kings and quasi-immortal emperors. The Immortal King level itself ranged from ordinary Immortal Kings and peak Immortal Kings up through Immortal King Giants and Emperor Light Immortal Kings. Li Shanhei's own strength was roughly on par with an Emperor Light Immortal King. After his recent breakthrough, Yue Ming might be only a little weaker than Li Shanhei, though his Chaos Sword Embryo and God King level will let him just about contend with an Emperor Light Immortal King. Lu Ming, however, could not face a quasi-immortal emperor alone. One careless breath from such a being could kill him. "We need a plan," Lu Ming said, brows drawn tight. If it had only been ordinary immortal kings, his quasi-immortal king power and the treasures he'd bought in the merchants group might suffice. But a quasi-immortal emperor was another matter entirely. Li Shanhei hesitated, then produced a trump card. "I have a defensive treasure, a one-time offensive supreme item that can definitely kill a quasi-immortal emperor. But it's expensive. If I use it, after the mission each of you will have to reimburse me 2 origin points." Yue Ming and Lu Ming exchanged a look and nodded. Li Shanhei produced a small golden talisman. It looked unremarkable, but when he explained its origin, the others understood why he had been willing to pay so much for it. The talisman came from an 8th-tier powerhouse and could erase the karmic traces of any being below the 7th tier. Against a quasi-immortal emperor, it would be lethal. They agreed to take the initiative. If the dark quasi-immortal emperor were allowed to spread word of their attack, the weird race itself might be drawn in, something the immortal domain and the 9 heavens and 10 earths could not afford. So they would strike a fatal blow and keep it quiet. "Depart," Yue Ming ordered. He led the group, Li Shanhei, Lu Ming, Ye Fan, the Empress, Wu Shi, the Azure Emperor, Duan Dai, the Divine Silkworm Ancient Emperor, and others, back into the Boundary Sea. Lu Ming was no longer merely a mortal world immortal. He had broken through to true immortal and advanced to quasi-immortal king level. Though even with the treasures he'd prepared, he could at best hold his own against an ordinary immortal king. Ye Fan and the other mortal world immortals couldn't overturn powers like the desolate Heaven Emperor, but with Lu Ming's equipment, they could contend with quasi-immortal kings and restrain ordinary dark immortal kings. No sooner had they entered the Boundary Sea than their auras flared, drawing the attention of the dark creatures. Dozens of terrible presences converged. Dozens of dark immortal kings attacked. Yue Ming merely swung a fist. Terrifying divine power burst out and scattered the dark immortal kings. Several were slammed backward, coughing up blood, grievously wounded. "Attack!" Yue Ming commanded, and the group moved without hesitation. Words were pointless. These were enemies to be destroyed. Yue Ming activated the Chaos Jade Plate, the domain's supreme treasure, which suppressed the strength of the Dark Immortal Kings by nearly 30%, while simultaneously amplifying his allies by about 30%. Under that boost, Ye Fan and the others were able to contend with ordinary Dark Immortal Kings. Lu Ming's purchased treasures helped restrain a few more. "Take the Dark Immortal Kings. Leave the quasi-immortal emperor to me," Yue Ming said. Li Shanhei nodded. He had not acted yet because he'd been waiting for the quasi-immortal emperor. The moment it revealed itself, he would use the talisman. Yue Ming drew out the Chaos Sword Embryo and charged. Of the 38 Dark Immortal Kings arrayed against them, most were ordinary and peak Immortal Kings. Only 3 were Immortal King Giants. The Dark Immortal Kings could feel Yue Ming as a grave threat. Except for a few bound by Lu Ming and the others, they all attacked him. They began to burn through their souls and physical forms like torches, unleashing tremendous power. Even Yue Ming felt the pressure. "Kill!" His eyes went cold. The Chaos Sword Embryo awakened and unleashed its might. Each slash tore at the void, even rending the river of time. The sword's blades were merciless. The Dark Immortal Kings who met its light felt a crushing sense of life or death peril and pushed their full strength into the fight. They roared and countered with terrible divine abilities, throwing the great Tao into turmoil. The Boundary Sea convulsed, monstrous waves smashed down, and many small worlds were damaged or destroyed. These were immortal kings, masters of the immortal Tao, and dozens of them exploding at once could obliterate a great realm. Yet the Chaos Sword Embryo crushed their assaults. Its sword light swallowed and annihilated their techniques. Their god-level abilities could not match it. After a long, brutal clash, an ordinary dark immortal king finally collapsed beneath the sword. Its immortal frame exploded into a bloody mist. Immortal king blood spattered across the boundary sea. One fell, then another. Those slain by the Chaos Sword embryo were mostly ordinary immortal kings. Immortal king giants were far tougher. As more of their number died, the remaining dark immortal kings panicked. Some tried to flee, but the domain formed by the Chaos Jade Plate held them fast. Bound, terrified, and outmatched, they could only watch as Yue Ming's sword light continued to sweep through them. Chapter 172, First Stage of the Mission Completed. Rumble. With Yue Ming pouring in his full strength, the Chaos Sword embryo unleashed a terrifying power. Dark immortal kings were blasted apart in rapid succession, collapsing like falling dominoes. Lu Ming, Ye Fan, and the others who had been holding them back turned to stare, astonished at Yue Ming's ferocity. He had been besieged by dozens of dark immortal kings. They had worried for him, but none had expected him to slaughter them so relentlessly. "If we keep this up, we'll all die. Fight with everything you've got," someone shouted. "Right, fight to the death. Do you want us dead? We'll take you with us. Kill!" Suppressed by the domain treasure, the Dark Immortal Kings couldn't escape. One after another, they flung themselves into desperate assaults, burning soul and body without restraint, hoping to drag Yue Ming down. Yue Ming scoffed. How can an ant shake a tree? He drove the Chaos Sword embryo harder. Beams of sword light cleaved the enemy ranks. At the Immortal King realm, shattered bodies should reconstitute instantly, and primordial spirits were ordinarily indestructible. Yet the sword light did more than destroy their bodies. Their primordial spirits began to collapse. Those struck by the Chaos Sword were not merely wounded, they were erased, annihilated down to nothing. The sight was terrifying. "How dare you!" As Yue Ming continued his slaughter, a roar erupted from the far side of the boundary sea. A suffocating aura rolled over the battlefield. The dark quasi-immortal emperor had arrived. Even before he drew near, Yue Ming felt the pressure. Both were men of the sixth realm, but the gap was enormous. Yue Ming suspected that if the dark quasi-immortal emperor struck him full force, even with the Chaos Sword embryo, he might not survive a single blow. "Ha ha! Lord Emperor is here. We're saved. Lord Emperor, come quickly." The arrival galvanized the Dark Immortal Kings. One by one, they dropped their suicidal fervor. No one wanted to die if they didn't have to. Yue Ming took a breath. From now on, it was up to Li Shanhe. He had prepared himself. If things went wrong, he would abandon the mission and slip back to the Swallowed Star world at once. Finally arrived. Li Shanhe's face was grave. He took out a golden talisman, murmured incantations, and flung it into the void. The talisman became a streak of golden light and flew straight for the dark quasi-immortal emperor. "What is that?" The dark quasi-immortal emperor reacted, striking out, but his fist passed through the golden light as if it weren't there. The light settled on him. He went pale, then showed a look of pure terror. Something utterly inimical had touched him. He tried to speak, but before he could, he vanished. No trace remained. The talisman erased him completely. After he disappeared, everything connected to him began to be wiped away. Memories of the dark quasi-immortal emperor faded from minds across the shrouding the heavens world, erased by that mysterious power. Immortal emperors and quasi-immortal emperors alike were rattled. Few could withstand such an effect. Yue Ming's own memories of the dark quasi-immortal emperor started to blur as well, but the chat group interfered. The chat group's presence suppressed the erasure. Whatever force was wiping him from history could not touch the group's records or the members' shared memory. "Who dares tamper with karma?" Voices erupted across myriad universes. The disappearance of such a being caused shock among many realms. After using the talisman, Li Shanhe joined the fight in earnest. With Yue Ming and him together, the Dark Immortal Kings were quickly overwhelmed. Alone, Yue Ming could have held them. With Li Shanhe's help, there was no contest. Retreat. Once the Dark Immortal Kings were dealt with, everyone pulled back from the Boundary Sea and returned to the Immortal Domain. Simultaneously, the chat group's notification chimed in Yue Ming and the others' minds. Ding! Congratulations on completing the first stage of the mission. Your mission evaluation this time is 9.2. Your final average evaluation is 8.9. Congratulations on obtaining 32 origin points. Since this is a linked mission, you now have two choices: return to your current world and wait for the next stage, or remain in the mission world and wait there for the next stage. Yue Ming glanced at Li Shan and Lu Ming, expecting they had received the same prompt. I got it, Lu Ming said. You two really hit the jackpot. I didn't do well in the mission, so I only received 5 origin points. Chat group missions rewarded effort. The more you contributed, the richer the reward. The Dark Immortal Kings and that quasi-immortal in the Boundary Sea are cleared. They won't threaten the immortal domain for the time being. The quasi-immortal's sudden death means he didn't spread the alarms. This buys you a period of temporary peace. Use it to get stronger. Because the Dark Quasi-Immortal Emperor had been erased so abruptly, the weird race would take time to notice. It might be thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years before they investigated. In any case, there would be a window for steady development. I plan to return to the Coiling Dragon world, Li Shanhe said. I'll come back when the next linked mission starts. Yue Ming, you? I'll return to the Swallowed Star world, Yue Ming answered. I have affairs to handle there and can't stay long in the Shrouding the Heavens world. None of them knew when the origin continent might invade the dimensional universe. Yue Ming had to oversee matters at home. All right then, see you later. With that, Li Shanhe's figure vanished, returning to the Coiling Dragon world. I'm leaving too, he added. Li Shanhe and I are administrators. If anything happens, contact us immediately. Yue Ming had administrator privileges now and could transmigrate to any world where a group member was. If trouble arose in the Shrouding the Heavens world, he could appear there at once. Thank you, Lu Ming said with a nod. Yue Ming didn't immediately return to the Swallowed Star world. He opened the chat group mall, thinking about which treasures to buy. Returning openly would draw the attention of the Supreme Rule. Though he had been nurtured by the primordial universe and would not be suppressed in the same way as beings from the origin continent, the Supreme Rule would compel him to undergo reincarnation and force him out of the dimensional universe. Before going back, he needed a treasure to shield him from that compulsion. While browsing, Yue Ming sent Li Shanhe a red packet with 2 origin points. They had agreed that Li Shanhe would be compensated for using the talisman. 2 origin points each from Yue Ming and Lu Ming. Sorry, only 2 chapters today. Toothache. Chapter 173, Zuo Shank's Shock. While scouting the chat group mall for treasures, Yue Ming opened his attribute panel to check his origin points. After sending a red packet to Li Shanhe, he had 43.79 origin points left. He searched the mall for a long time. There were many items that fit his needs, but most were far too expensive. In the end, he settled on a supreme treasure called the White Dragon Talisman. It cost 5 origin points. To be precise, it was a 7th-order talisman treasure, able to conceal karma and obscure heavenly secrets. It could shield against supreme rules and defend against karma erasure. The talisman Li Shanhe had used could erase a dark quasi-immortal emperor on the karma level. Yue Ming admitted that had frightened him, which was why he bought the White Dragon Talisman. Still, it was only 7th order, effective only up to 7th order assaults. Against an 8th order dominator, it would be useless. Purchase the White Dragon Talisman. Ding! 5 origin points deducted. A pure white talisman, the size of 3 fingers, appeared in Yue Ming's hand. It was simple to use. Hang it on his waist and it would activate automatically. He fastened the talisman and returned to the Swallowed Star world. His figure vanished from where he stood, and when he opened his eyes again, he was back in the Star Tower. With the White Dragon Talisman on, the Supreme Rule detected no anomaly, provided he did nothing. If he unleashed the power of a Chaos Dominator, the talisman would not hide him. The Supreme Rule would immediately pick up the change. Yue Ming spread his will across the primordial universe and quickly caught up on everything that had happened while he'd been away. Luo Feng had already awakened. It was nearly time. More than 6,000 years had passed since Luo Feng began inheriting the Star Tower. Zuo Shanqi looked at him with satisfaction. Luo Feng has inherited the Star Tower successfully, Zuo Shanqi declared. From now on, you are my personal disciple and the leader of the Earth lineage, qualified to stand among the universe's super powerhouses. The Earth-human lineage is like my child, he went on. You've gone through countless secret trials and passed the Star Tower's legacy trial. Barring unexpected events, you will be my last disciple. Behind Zuo Shanqi stood a figure with a human body and a serpent's tail, his eldest disciple, Master Puti. He smiled at Luo Feng, happy for him. Junior brother, congratulations, Master Puti said respectfully. Luo Feng knelt, heart-pounding. He'd accepted becoming Zuo Shanqi's disciple without hesitation. After cultivating the 9 Tribulations Secret Codex, he'd been mentally prepared. Though Zuo Shanqi wasn't human, he was the founder and guide of the Earth lineage. Without him, the Earth line would not exist. I have 3 habits when teaching disciples, Zuo Shanqi told Luo Feng. First, I prepare the universe's top-tier resources for my disciples. Second, I will not teach you any secret techniques. Third, I will not care whether you live or die, nor will I reverse time and space to revive you if you fall. Luo Feng was stunned. No secret techniques, and his master wouldn't save his life? It felt like he'd signed onto a pirate ship. You must understand this. True super powerhouses cannot be taught, Zuo Shanqi continued. Everything depends on you going out and forging your path. Constant protection by a teacher will not make you a powerhouse. So I don't teach secret techniques, and I won't interfere in life or death. I only provide resources and supreme treasures. If you fall on the road to becoming a super powerhouse, I will not reverse time and space to revive you. I will simply choose another candidate from the Earth lineage to inherit the Star Tower's life and death legacy. So work hard and don't disappoint me. He meant it. If Luo Feng failed, Zuo Shanqi would not resurrect him. He would pick another candidate, as he had with the previous 2. At that moment, a grand, majestic aura descended over the hall. Within its scope, the universe origin law withdrew, forming a vacuum zone. What happened? The universe origin law is gone. I can't sense it anymore. Luo Feng's alarm flared. Neither his Earth-human true body nor his demonic killer race clone and golden horned beast clone in his inner world could detect the universe origin law. Luo Feng, you're finally awake. Your wife and son sent messages for you. Yue Ming materialized in the Star Tower Hall. After returning to the Swallowed Star World, he'd found many unread emails, most from Luo Feng's wife and children. Because Yue Ming had been in the Shrouding the Heavens world, he hadn't received them in time. He'd replied uniformly, assuring them Luo Feng was fine. Brother Ming. Luo Feng's voice trembled with relief and joy. The whole misunderstanding had been because Luo Feng had prepared a scheduled farewell email in case he failed the Star Tower trial. Xu Xin had mistakenly thought he'd died. Master Puti's expression shifted. He stepped forward and saluted Yue Ming with deep respect. He too was of the human race, and Yue Ming was the pillar of humanity and the foremost powerhouse in the Universe Sea. Zuo Shanqi's face changed. His expression flattened into disbelief as he stared at Yue Ming. The original universe's source will constrained him, so he couldn't even say the words, Chaos Dominator. Yue Ming smiled and nodded. Senior has the wisdom eye, he said simply. He hadn't tried to hide anything. After all, he'd come to consult Zuo Shanqi about shaping a miniature universe within his body. While speaking, he employed the Hongmeng bead to mask them from the original universe source will so they could talk openly. How is that possible? Zuo Shanqi stammered. In a dimensional universe, how could you bypass the supreme rule and break through to the Chaos Dominator realm? That's absolutely impossible. In a dimensional universe, it was nearly inconceivable to break even to eternal true God. 10th order true God was the limit. A breakthrough to void true God would provoke the supreme rule and force the cultivator into reincarnation to protect the living beings. Even a God King couldn't violate that limit. Facts speak louder than words, Yue Ming said, letting the reality before them answer. Zuo Shanqi stared at him, eyes complex. Regret washed over him so strongly his gut ached. If he had known Yue Ming could achieve such heights, he would have tried every way to take him as a disciple the first time he discovered him. But it was too late for regrets now. You two go ahead, Yue Ming said. I have something to discuss with Senior. He wanted a quiet place to ask Zuo Shanqi about the experience of shaping a miniature universe inside his body. If Zuo Shanqi would share his insights, it could save Yue Ming countless detours. Chapter 174. If I don't nod, who dares to touch Luo Feng? You all should leave first. As for the Star Tower, it will remain here for the time being. When Luo Feng can truly activate it, he can come to the outside territory battlefield and take it. From the moment the Star Tower had been discovered, it had drawn the attention of countless super-existences across the universe. Many powerful beings had been coveting it, and its disappearance would have sparked a huge uproar. Yue Ming could guess exactly what Zuo Shanqi feared, that someone would covet Luo Feng's Star Tower. Luo Feng's strength was still too low. Once the tower was exposed, he would have a hard time holding on to it. There's no need for trouble. Let Luo Feng take the Star Tower. The human race has already unified the primordial universe and crippled the 7 major superforces. Who among the universe's forces now dares to provoke us? As for disputes within the human race, know that I back Luo Feng. Senior, you have my assurance. Things had changed drastically. The human race had indeed unified the primordial universe. The 7 great powers had been broken. Forces across the primordial universe no longer dared to provoke humanity, and within the human race itself, any objections would be restrained by Yue Ming's standing. If Yue Ming didn't approve, who would dare touch Luo Feng? Since you say so, then let Luo Feng take the Star Tower. With Yue Ming's guarantee, Zuo Shanqi had no further objections. Luo Feng, however, was utterly bewildered. Had he heard correctly? When had the human race unified the primordial universe? Only after Master Puti secretly transmitted an explanation during the more than 6,000 years Luo Feng had spent inside the Star Tower did he understand what had happened while he'd been in stasis. He looked at Yue Ming with wide, disbelieving eyes. Brother Ming, that's incredible. Luo Feng's emotions were tangled. He felt as if he'd woken to find an old friend had become the strongest in the human race, the mightiest in the universe C, an existence who had slain 10 universe strongest in a single campaign and cowed the whole universe C. Quickly report your safety to Shu Xin, Yue Ming said. Tell Hong and Thunder God that once I've settled things, we'll meet at our old place. With Zuo Shanqi's assistance, Luo Feng took hold of the Star Tower. As he assumed control, the powerful beings who had been occupying the tower's inner universe were expelled by force. In an instant, millions of alien powerhouses were thrown out and collected outside the tower. What happened? I was exploring inside the Star Tower and was suddenly teleported into a passage and then blasted out. I got blasted out too. Each passage of the Star Tower ejected crowds of alien cultivators. They came from different racial factions and for the moment were not fighting, only stunned. Since the Star Tower had arisen in the 7th domain outer battlefield, such a mass expulsion had never happened before. Look, the 9-swirl nebula is gone. The Star Tower is shrinking. What's going on? The Star Tower disappeared. Millions watched in disbelief. The 9-swirl nebula, an immense source of power capable of tearing apart universe exalts, suddenly dissipated. The majestic Star Tower, once 9 light-years tall and seeming to span half the universe, rapidly contracted. In the space of a blink, it shrank from 9 light-years to a single kilometer and then vanished into nothing. The Star Tower is gone. How is that possible? Who can explain this? News of the Star Tower's disappearance spread with terrifying speed, shaking the primordial universe. Many universe lords rushed to the outside territory battlefield, but before they could approach, a staggering aura spread out and enveloped the 7th domain outer battlefield. All universe lords who had entered were forcefully expelled. It's the human galaxy true master. The alien universe lords who had been blasted out changed expressions and bowed deeply, then fled the 7th domain outer battlefield as if their lives depended on it. Word spread quickly. The human race's galaxy true master had appeared in the 7th domain outer battlefield and taken away the Star Tower. The revelation caused an uproar, but no one dared to act against it. The Galaxy True Master's reputation for consecutively slaying 10 universe strongest was simply too fearsome. Senior, shall we find a quiet place to talk? There are things I'd like to consult you about. All right, let's go to my miniature universe. Led by Zuo Shanqi, Yue Ming arrived before a secluded miniature universe. Located in an obscure spot, it would have been extremely difficult to find without guidance. With Yue Ming's current strength, nothing about the journey worried him anymore. Once inside, Yue Ming came straight to the point. he sought Zuo Shanke's instruction on how to create a miniature universe. Senior, I have now broken through to the Chaos Dominator realm. It's time to create my internal miniature universe, but the legacy I received contains little information on the process. I hope you can teach me. You've already reached Chaos Dominator. It's indeed time. Zuo Shanke regarded him closely and, without holding anything back, began to recount his experience in painstaking detail. He demonstrated techniques with divine power as he spoke. Yue Ming had promised to help avenge him, and Zuo Shanke naturally wanted Yue Ming to advance to God King, so he instructed him thoroughly. The explanations and demonstrations continued for several years. Yue Ming benefited greatly, avoiding countless detours in his own path. Thank you for clearing my doubts, Senior. Several more years passed. Yue Ming bowed to Zuo Shanke, who accepted the gesture with a calm nod. It's time to revive, Master, Yue Ming said. Leaving Zuo Shanke's miniature universe, Yue Ming teleported back into the primordial universe. Having broken through to the Chaos Dominator realm, he could now withstand the backlash of reviving a universe lord. His plan was to revive his master, Ice Peak Lord. Galaxy True Master, Luo Feng has returned, about the Star Tower. When Yue Ming arrived, Primordial Chaos City Lord appeared immediately. Luo Feng had already returned to the primordial universe and met with Primordial Chaos City Lord. He had explained that he had taken the Star Tower. Primordial Chaos City Lord had come to seek Yue Ming's judgment. The Star Tower is Luo Feng's opportunity. Tell the others to stop coveting it. If anyone objects, tell them to come see me. Yue Ming had expected dissent within the human race. After all, Luo Feng's cultivation was still low. Some would think that such a supreme treasure was too valuable for him. But with Yue Ming's backing, no one would dare interfere. I will convey your words. Primordial Chaos City Lord smiled. Luo Feng was his disciple. Luo Feng had seized the tower by his own skill, and he supported that. With Yue Ming's endorsement, the matter was effectively settled. Senior Martial Uncle, I'm preparing to revive Master and also Lord Longxing and the others, Yue Ming said. Over the endless years, the human race had not maintained only a dozen universe lords. Many had fallen in the past. Yue Ming intended to revive them all. Galaxy True Master, you can now revive universe lords? Chapter 175, Resurrecting Ice Peak Lord. Senior Martial Uncle, over all these years, the human race must have lost a lot of universe lords, Ice Peak Lord said. Prepare a list. When I bring Teacher back, I'll resurrect them all at the same time. The fall of so many universe lords over the ages was plain from the 52 Chaos Tablets. Some had been left by top universe overlords, but most came from universe lords who had since died. Now that Yue Ming had the ability, he intended to restore all those who had fallen fighting for the human race. Every universe lord possessed a time-space control ability granted by the primordial universe. It could reverse time and space to resurrect beings, but it had limits. It could bring back beings up to universe lord level. True gods had broken away from the primordial universe. Even if Yue Ming could bear the backlash, he could not revive a true god. Good. Good. Primordial Chaos City Lord quickly compiled the list. In addition to Ice Peak Lord, Lord Longxing, and Master of Barren Mirror, there were 11 other universe lords who had fallen in service to the human race. Reverse. Yue Ming positioned himself above the primordial universe and began to reverse time. Scenes of the past unspooled one after another. Time in the primordial universe flowed backward faster and faster until the figures of Ice Peak Lord, Lord Longxing, and Master of Barren Mirror appeared in the visions. Hold. Yue Ming fixed his will on those three and let the rewind proceed under his control. A terrifying backlash immediately pounded down, a force strong enough to fell a true god. Luckily, Yue Ming was already a chaos dominator. The backlash could at worst drain some of his divine power, not end him. Is this primordial chaos city? But I remember falling in the universe sea. Is time being reversed? Have we been resurrected? Galaxy really wasn't lying. He can resurrect universe lords. Ice Peak Lord, Lord Longxing, and Master of Barren Mirror opened their eyes and stared upward in shock. Lord Longxing's expression was the most complicated. Yue Ming had killed him personally once and had promised to resurrect him. At the time, Lord Longxing had thought it a vain promise. The resurrection of a universe lord had never been done, not even by the strongest. Yet here it was. Yue Ming had done it, fulfilling his word and rewinding time to bring him back. Senior Brother Chaos, what has happened to Galaxy? His aura is terrifying. Yue Ming's presence overwhelmed even Great Axe founder in power. Ice Peak Lord could scarcely recognize it. Primordial Chaos City Lord gave a brief account of the past few years. In a few thousand years, so much had changed. Yue Ming had risen to become the human race's greatest genius, slain 10 universe strongest in succession, and led the human race to unify the primordial universe. This disciple of mine, Ice Peak Lord's emotions wavered. It was like waking to find your child had become the richest man on earth. Ice Peak, with a disciple who is the strongest in the universe sea, you are truly elevated now. Who would dare provoke you? Lord Longxing and Master of Barren Mirror envied Ice Peak Lord and privately wished they had been his disciples. Ice Peak Lord couldn't hide his pride at being the teacher of such a prodigy. Galaxy is starting to reverse time again. Primordial Chaos City Lord's voice cut through. Everyone looked up as Yue Ming once more began to rewind the primordial universe, stretching the flow of time ever further back. This was the holy land of cultivation for the human race. Almost every human above universe exalt level had left a footprint here. Yue Ming intended to roll back to the moments when those fallen universe lords had been present and bring them back intact. The scene rewound like a movie on fast forward, rushing back 10 billion epochs, 100 billion, a trillion epochs. Hold! This time a long-haired woman appeared in the vision, wearing white armor and bearing 2 long swords on her back, valiant and spirited. It's Master of Dreamcloud. Ice Peak Lord and the others brightened. Dreamcloud had been Origin Ancestor's disciple too, their junior sister, but she had fallen many years ago fighting against foreign races. Primordial Chaos City Lord's voice softened as memories surged up. Their junior sister, lost in battle. As the oldest universe lord of the human race, he had watched friend after friend fall and felt helpless. Not even Origin Ancestor could resurrect a universe lord. No one in the dimensional universe could, until now. Yue Ming was changing all that. Master of Dreamcloud stirred slowly, her awareness hazy after the long absence. Dreamcloud, welcome back, Primordial Chaos City Lord and the others said, surrounding her and filling in the story of the ages and the current state of the human race. The greatest genius in human history? He slew 10 universe strongest and unified the primordial universe? Dreamcloud listened as if to a myth. Even Origin Ancestor had never achieved such feats. That he could also resurrect universe lords seemed unbelievable. Galaxy is starting again. Under Yue Ming's continued reversal of time and space, fallen universe lords were restored one by one. Soon a gathering of universe lords assembled in Primordial Chaos City. They're here. Great Axe and the others. Figures descended into the primordial universe. Great Axe founder and many other universe lords. Primordial Chaos City Lord had alerted everyone via the virtual universe when Yue Ming first announced his plan, and now the long-absent champions were finally returning. Chapter 176, The Prestige of the Universe, Sea's Strongest. Juyu, welcome back from the dead. After so many years, I never thought I'd see you again. Ha ha ha, Xuanjian, you old fossil has returned. Counting the time, it's been hundreds of millions of epochs since your fall. Tianqing, welcome back. You were a great hero of the human race. Back then, you sacrificed yourself to cover our retreat. When Great Axe founder and the others arrived, they gathered around the newly revived universe lords. Seeing their old comrades return one by one, Great Axe founder and the rest were elated. The newly awakened universe lords, confronted with these familiar, kindly faces, felt dizzy and disoriented, as if they had woken up in another world. Primordial Chaos City Lord filled them in on the developments of the human race over the centuries. Each time he mentioned Yue Ming, all eyes shifted to the figure suspended above the city. I never imagined that hundreds of millions of epochs had passed since my death, Lord Xuanjian said with deep feeling. Nor did I expect that upon awakening, our human race would already have unified the primordial universe. Lord Xuanjian was one of the oldest universe lords and had fought alongside Origin Ancestor in the early days, helping the human race rise. Primordial Chaos City Lord continued, recounting how, over the long ages, little else had changed save occasional conflicts and the birth of a handful of new universe lords. until just more than 10,000 years ago when Galaxy True Master appeared. Galaxy True Master, he is the most outstanding genius in our race's history, even surpassing Origin Ancestor. In a little over 10,000 years, he broke through to true God, Primordial Chaos City Lord said. Under his leadership, the human race unified the primordial universe. No one really knows the full extent of his power, but he is recognized as the strongest being in the entire universe C. Hearing of Yue Ming's deeds, the newly revived Universe Lords were shocked and had trouble believing it. To become the strongest in the Universe C in a little over 10,000 years, to slay 10 of the universe's greatest in a single battle, and to lead the human race to unify the primordial universe, these were miracles. Even Origin Ancestor had failed to unify the primordial universe. Even he could not slay 10 universe strongest in a single engagement. Everyone, welcome back, Yue Ming said as he slowly descended. He had revived 14 Universe Lords this time. The human race now had 28 Universe Lords in total. Each resurrection exacted a heavy toll. Each required the operation of universe-level law and had produced a backlash that consumed much of his divine power. Reviving 14 required so much that Yue Ming would need decades to recover. Galaxy True Master, thank you for reviving us. Without you, we would have been lost forever. The newly awakened bowed deeply to the peerless figure who stood at the center of the human race, reverence plain in their eyes. All of you are heroes of the human race. The rise of our people is owed in no small part to your efforts, so it is only right you were brought back, Yue Ming replied. While you are here, I have a few announcements, but this is not the place to speak. Let us go to the City Lord's mansion. They processed to the mansion in grand fashion. Yue Ming and Great Axe, the two true gods, sat at the head, while the 28 Universe Lords took their seats on either side. All the human race's super existences were assembled. Be quiet, Yue Ming said once the room fell silent. First, I plan to have a supreme treasure custom-made for each of the newly revived Universe Lords here. If you have any particular requests or special types of treasures you need, report them to Marshal Uncle Chaos later. After unification, the human race had looted massive stores of resources, especially the accumulations of the 7 superforces over endless years, and almost all of it had fallen into human hands. Those spoils were more than enough to forge dozens of supreme treasures. Yue Ming had sold off part of the hall in the chat group mall to convert them into points, and then use those points to buy the specific refining materials needed. Second, I plan to give a Tao lecture in the primal universe a century from now. Anyone in the human race who is undying or above and who has made contributions may sign up to attend. Yue Ming intended to strengthen the race further. Those like Primordial Chaos City Lord, who stood just one step from True God, might well break through with the right guidance. Yue Ming's Tao lecture, delivered from his current Chaos Dominator realm, would be potent on its own, but crucially, he also had a 7th-tier supreme treasure, the Bodhi Tree. With its blessing, the lecture would almost certainly produce many new Universe Lords from the human race and, with luck, even several new true gods. Finally, I plan to visit the Elder God cult soon to negotiate with the original universe's source will and attempt to free Origin Ancestor. He has been suppressed for too long. It is time he returned to the human race. The room erupted. What? Rescue Origin Ancestor? Galaxy, are you sure? Every face showed how much Origin Ancestor's fate mattered to them. Even those who were not his disciples had once benefited from his favor. Yue Ming answered calmly, Don't worry, I'm confident. Origin Ancestor had been permanently suppressed by the source will after attempting to possess it. Yue Ming could not promise absolute certainty, but he had strong reason for hope. From Zuo Shanke, he had learned that under the supreme rule, the original universe's source will could indeed be possessed. Possession itself was not forbidden by the supreme rule. That meant Origin Ancestor's suppression might be enforced by the source will rather than by the immutable supreme rule. If so, there was still a path to freeing him. After the meeting, Primordial Chaos City Lord compiled the list of the types and functions for the supreme treasures the Universe Lords wanted. Yue Ming then visited the clan's treasure vault, took the bulk of its holdings, sold most of them in the chat group mall for a vast number of points, and purchased the refining materials everyone requested. Before heading to the Elder God cult, he went to Zuo Shanki's miniature universe and handed all those materials to him. There were enough materials to refine 20 supreme treasures, one for each of the 14 newly revived universe lords, and several extras to be kept in the clan vault for those who might later need them. Senior, please refine one more palace-type supreme treasure, Yue Ming asked. My teacher, Ice Peak Lord, has just revived. I want to give him a gift. You want to wear me out? Zuo Shanka's expression darkened as he stared at the enormous pile of materials, but after much persuasion, he reluctantly agreed and collected everything with a grim look. Greetings, Galaxy Truemaster. With the preparations in motion, Yue Ming then teleported to the Elder God cult. He found the 3 great ancestral gods waiting for him, leading a host of universe lords. The show of reception made the prestige of the Universe C's strongest abundantly clear. Arriving at the Elder God cult to be personally welcomed by the 3 great ancestral gods and all the cult's universe lords left no doubt of Yue Ming's standing. Chapter 177, Threatening the Source, will, no need for formalities. Take me to the Elder God's secret realm. I have something to discuss with the Source will. Yue Ming stood in the Void Realm and looked down at the Elder God cult's universe lords below. Accompanied by the 3 great ancestral gods, he strode into the Elder God's secret realm. The sight stunned countless members of the cult. Isn't that the human race's Galaxy Truemaster? No wonder, the strongest in the universe see personally arriving at the Elder God cult, and the 3 great ancestral gods themselves to greet him. What would the human race's Galaxy Truemaster want with our Elder God cult? He's not here to attack, is he? Anything's possible. The human race has nearly unified the primordial universe. Every major force has been crushed. We're one of the few left. Whispers spread through the crowd, many watching Yue Ming with unease. The Elder God cult enjoyed the favor of the Source Will, but the Galaxy Truemaster had proven terrifying before. Instantly, a crushing pressure descended when Yue Ming stepped into the secret realm. The original universe Source Will had sensed him and manifested personally. The 3 great ancestral gods' faces changed. They closed their eyes and listened as the Source Will spoke, its tone low and confiding, as if sharing a grave judgment with trusted envoys. Galaxy Truemaster, the 3 great ancestral gods relayed, opening their eyes together a few minutes later. The Source Will says Origin Ancestor violated the Supreme Rule and has no right to release him at will. If you want Origin Ancestor freed, you must render an exceptionally outstanding contribution. Moreover, even after such a contribution, the Source Will not release Origin Ancestor until the end of this reincarnation era. The leaders spoke the Source Will's words plainly and without elaboration. They were anxious. They feared Yue Ming might suddenly turn hostile. Others knew only that Yue Ming had once slain 10 universe strongest, but as spokesman for the Source Will, they also understood the full gravity of that clash, how absolute his power had been. If Yue Ming chose to oppose them again, the cult would be helpless. I can help you solve the world beast problem, Yue Ming said, voice calm but firm, on one condition. Release Origin Ancestor now. Don't tell me he violated the Supreme Rule. If the Source Will truly suppressed him, then you wouldn't even be qualified to keep him imprisoned. A terrible rippling anger from the Source Will filled the chamber. The 3 great ancestral gods sank to their knees, trembling. Yue Ming alone remained steady. Either you obey and release Origin Ancestor, and I will assist with the world beast threat, or I will possess the primordial universe and release Origin Ancestor myself. The choice is yours. Yue Ming released his will. Because of the Supreme Rule, he kept his cultivation suppressed to around the 10th Order True God, but his will itself was not constrained. To possess the primordial universe, one needs an absolute will, on par with a saint level, a Chaos Dominator grade will. Yue Ming now wielded a God King level will. That strength made possession almost certain. The Source Will's pressure throbbed, but the origination of its fury was tempered by a new fear. After a moment it yielded. Galaxy Truemaster, the Source Will agrees to release Origin Ancestor immediately. The 3 great ancestral gods' faces were pale as they conveyed the decree. Consider yourself wise, Yue Ming replied. You don't need to fear. If I wanted to possess the primordial universe, I wouldn't have waited to threaten you. And my promise stands, I will help with your world beast problem. He had no real desire to possess the primordial universe. Possession had advantages, but also drawbacks. Yue Ming was preparing to break through to God King. Why give up that path now? As the source will relinquished its hold, the core primal universe of the human territory began to tremble. In the primal universe's origin space, a white figure condensed, taking the familiar form of Origin Ancestor. That primal universe had once been Origin Ancestor's miniature realm. Now freed, he appeared within its origin space. The figure finished solidifying, Origin Ancestor in a white robe, radiating a majestic, calming presence. Wherever he moved, space itself seemed soothed. Origin Ancestor, Master! Led by Great Axe and the primordial Chaos City Lord, the human race's universe lords crowded forward, faces filled with excitement. The primordial Chaos City Lord trembled, tears glimmered in his eyes. To him, Origin Ancestor had been teacher and father alike. He had devoted himself all these years to safeguarding his master's legacy, never daring to slack off. Even those who admired him most did not know the simple truth. Primordial Chaos City Lord sought only to protect what his teacher had left behind and to prevent the human race from disappointing those expectations. Great Axe, you've worked hard over the years. Chaos, you've done well. You've lived up to my hopes. Freedom feels so good. Origin Ancestor's voice trembled with emotion as he looked over Great Axe, Primordial Chaos City Lord, and the others. Though suppressed, he had seen their efforts. Congratulations, Origin Ancestor, on regaining your freedom. The human race's universe lords stepped forward to offer their respects. For them, he was the leader who had led humanity's rise, a first-generation patriarch they truly admired. Yue Ming, having left the God cult once the Source was seated, arrived at the primal universe just in time to see the reunion. Galaxy, you really did it. Galaxy, thank you for freeing Origin Ancestor. Voices rang with gratitude. No one had expected him to act so swiftly. Origin Ancestor approached Yue Ming solemnly. Galaxy, I have been watching you for a long time. Your talent is astonishing. I never expected that after only 10,000 years you could accomplish so much and restore my freedom. Such favor is beyond repayment. Please accept my bow. Yue Ming quickly intervened. Strictly speaking, Origin Ancestor was still his ancestral master. He could not allow the Elder to bow to him. He also glanced at Primordial Chaos City Lord and Ice Peak Lord. Both looked helpless, torn by Origin Ancestor's formal gratitude. Teacher, that's not necessary, Ice Peak Lord said with a rueful smile. The two stood there, locked in a respectful stalemate, until finally they compromised. Origin Ancestor offered a half-bow, and Yue Ming accepted the gesture. To celebrate Origin Ancestor's restored freedom, Primordial Chaos City Lord hosted a grand banquet in Primordial Chaos City. The news spread swiftly, sending ripples through the entire universe sea. Chapter 178, Galaxy True Masters Lecture. Back then it was a lapse in judgment, Origin Ancestor said, recounting his past. I thought reincarnation was a plot of the Source will, so I tried to possess the primordial universe. I was wrong. The possession failed, and the Source will suppressed me until now. Origin Ancestor had risen with terrifying speed in those days. Even the strongest powers of the first and second reincarnation eras could not match him. He had seemed invincible in the universe sea. By nature, he was cautious, though, and always wary of the ancestors of the two great Holy Land universes. Despite his dominance, he would not presume he could defeat them. Over long observation, he noticed that those ancestors had never left their Holy Land universes. Something kept them confined. That led him to suspect reincarnation was a trick by the Source will, that the ancestors had been deceived and trapped. He had tried to possess the primordial universe and been suppressed. The attempt was not a total failure. He gained a sliver of the Source will's authority. That sliver let his virtual universe secret techniques extend across the primordial universe and revealed many hidden truths. Eventually, he realized his original conclusion was wrong. The Source will merely maintain the primordial universe's normal operation. It did not forcibly send anyone into reincarnation. Possessing the primordial universe can succeed, Origin Ancestor continued. It's a grand path. But the prerequisite is that your own will must already be at the saint level. Without that, success is impossible. Once the primordial universe is truly possessed, the benefits are enormous, though the supreme rule imposes restrictions. With the primordial universe's power, one can rapidly break through to Chaos Dominator. That, however, is the limit. Breaking through all the way to God King is far more difficult. Even possessing the primordial universe won't make that easy. That was why Yue Ming had never attempted to possess it. So that's it, Origin Ancestor murmured as the pieces fit together. Yue Ming had once mentioned the Origin continent in the virtual universe. Origin Ancestor realized Saint level referred to Chaos Dominator. 100 years passed in a blink. Word had spread across the human race that the great figure of the human race, Galaxy True Master, was about to give a public lecture. The announcement ignited heated discussion among countless powerhouses. Undying and above who had served the human race flocked to Primordial Chaos City. Applications and petitions poured in. The city swelled. Never before had Primordial Chaos City been so full. Thanks to Yue Ming's single battle, in which he slew 10 of the universe's strongest, and then led the human race to unify the primordial universe, his prestige now eclipsed even Great Axe founder and the Primordial Chaos City Lord. Undying spiritual gods and universe exalts alike felt reverence and longing to see him. This was Galaxy True Master's first public lecture. No one wanted to miss it. Even universe lords arrived, because Yue Ming had said he would share experiences on breaking through to true God. On the day of the lecture, the open plaza of Primordial Chaos City was packed. Millions had gathered, mostly undying and above. Yue Ming stood in the void realm above the square in a cyan robe, black hair draped over his shoulders, and sighed as he looked down. He had not expected such a turnout. Indeed, Primordial Chaos City hasn't been this lively in many years. The Primordial Chaos City Lord said beside him, robes golden and bearing a dignified air. Beside the Lord stood Great Axe Founder, a burly savage with unkempt hair and Origin Ancestor in white. "Ha ha ha, Galaxy, you probably don't know," Great Axe said with a laugh. "This whole crowd is because of a rumor that you'll take disciples during this lecture. Even those universe exalts are hanging on the chance." The rumor had been started by Great Axe and the Primordial Chaos City Lord in hopes Yue Ming might accept disciples. When they learned a disciple could be made, many, even universe exalts, had been excited. "Nonsense," Yue Ming said, slightly taken aback. He had no intention of taking disciples. Even if he did, he certainly would not take a universe exalt. Most exalts had nearly exhausted their potential. "But really, Galaxy, aren't you going to take disciples? With your current strength and realm, you could even take a universe lord. If word got out, universe lords would batter down your door." Great Axe urged. Although Yue Ming had never revealed his cultivation, they all suspected he had long surpassed true God by a wide margin. "Let's forget it," Yue Ming said, shaking his head. He had made up his mind. He would not take disciples now. Great Axe and the Primordial Chaos City Lord exchanged disappointed glances but said nothing more. "Time is almost up. It's about to begin." Yue Ming looked down at the square. The crowd was arranged by rank, universe lords in the front row, top universe overlords and universe overlords behind them, then universe exalts, undying spiritual gods, world lords, sector lords, universe rank, and so on. Only a handful of world lords, sector lords, and universe rank youngsters were present, those lucky few who happened to be cultivating in Primordial Chaos City at this session. Kandri, who guarded the Chaos Tablet's secret chamber, was moved. "I never expected Galaxy True Master to give a lecture so soon," he said. "Time spares no one." He remembered clearly the day Galaxy True Master had first come to Primordial Chaos City 10,000 years ago. The memory felt like yesterday. "Kandri, stop waxing sentimental," Ninesword Exalt said, respect in his face. Since following Yue Ming, Ninesword had turned his fortunes around. He had broken through to Universe Overlord and acquired several supreme treasures. What kind of person is Galaxy True Master? He's the greatest genius in our human race. Miracles happen with him. Who can fully fathom him? A majestic voice swept over Primordial Chaos City and silenced the crowd. Then Yue Ming appeared to them all, a cyan figure descending from high above to the central lecture platform in the square. He did not hide his true appearance like many other universe lords. His youth surprised many. "The lecture begins," someone announced, and a phantom blossomed behind Yue Ming, a towering Bodhi tree that spread its influence through the plaza. Under the tree's effect, all the listeners, even the universe lords, slipped into an epiphany state, minds opened and ready to receive what the galaxy true master would teach. Chapter 179, Presiding over the Giant Axe Meeting. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. Yue Ming's preaching had ended, but everyone remained steeped in their enlightenment. From time to time, someone would break through their realm. Whenever someone did, Yue Ming would casually open a pocket space and send the breakthrough cultivator inside, isolating them completely so the commotion wouldn't disturb others. The Bodhi tree's effect had exceeded expectations. Over those 30 years, the human race produced hundreds of universe exalts, dozens of top universe overlords, 5 new universe lords, and 1 true god. The one who ascended to the true god realm was none other than primordial Chaos City Lord. He had been only half a step away, and with the Bodhi tree's blessing, he finally comprehended his Tao and took the final step. The 5 who rose to Universe Lord were Palace Master Tianxi, Venerable Zhu Shu, Demon Master Xing Yu, Venerable Bu Si, and Venerable Wuan, ancient, established figures within the human race. Compared with the first 4, Venerable Wuan's foundation had been slightly weaker. His breakthrough this time owed more to fortune than to prior greatness. A few more years later, those who had been listening to the Tao gradually came fully awake. Everyone had gained something, some great and some small, and those who had broken through their realms benefited the most. In silent gratitude, they all bowed toward the preaching platform, even though Yue Ming had already left. Even the universe lords were not exempt. They had also gained a great deal from the teachings. Though only primordial Chaos City Lord had become a true god on the spot for now, many universe lords had found clearer paths to progress. Given time, reaching true god would be only a matter of time. Everyone, Galaxy True Master has ordered all universe lords to immediately enter the virtual universe and gather at the Giant Axe Temple. To welcome the newly elevated universe lords, the traditional Giant Axe meeting was called. Veteran and newly promoted universe lords alike gathered. Chaos, congratulations. You finally achieved your wish and took that final step, becoming the 4th of our human race's true gods. Ha ha ha! This time our human race has gained a new true god and 5 universe lords. What a joyous occasion. Now the universe lords of our human race exceed 30. This is the most prosperous era in our history. Inside the Giant Axe Temple, dozens of towering figures sat on stone chairs, speaking in low voices. They glanced repeatedly at Primordial Chaos City Lord with eyes full of envy. Universe lords were formidable, but true gods truly stood at the peak. Although Primordial Chaos City Lord had only just ascended, his power had already reached the 7th tier, and with a supreme treasure he could unleash 8th tier combat strength. The fastest period of advancement when a universe lord becomes a true god is that brief moment when their divine kingdom ripens into a miniature universe and they comprehend the evolution of chaos. Before breaking through, a typical universe lord might at most be at the peak of the 5th tier. Once they transcend, their secret technique levels can rapidly climb to the 7th tier, and a rare few can even reach the 8th. Everyone, first, I congratulate Martial Uncle Chaos on breaking through to True God. Second, I congratulate Lord Tianxi, Lord Zhu Shu, Lord Xing Yu, Lord Bu Si, and Lord Wuan on becoming Universe Lords. Yue Ming's words fell over the hall, and all eyes turned to the 5 newly promoted Universe Lords. They were veteran Universe Exalts, well known to those present. Bu Si was even Great Axe's personal disciple. According to our original rules, each newly promoted Universe Lord could receive a top-tier offensive treasure. But now that the human race has unified the primordial universe, the policy has been upgraded. You may choose 1 peak-level offensive or armor treasure. Go to the clan's vault and pick it yourselves. Yue Ming did not hand out supreme treasures directly. The veteran Universe Lords had guarded the human race for untold years and were entitled to such rewards. The Universe Lords, resurrected by Yue Ming, had fought for the clan's rise, and many had fallen opposing foreign races. They, too, had earned their right to supreme treasures. Newly promoted Universe Lords, however, could not receive such gifts automatically. To obtain a supreme treasure, they would have to contribute more to the clan in exchange for one from the clan's treasure vault. Thank you for the clan's bestowal. The five were not greedy. Having the right to choose a peak treasure was already a great honor. Many universe lords in the primordial universe still lacked peak implements. If you wish to obtain supreme treasures, it is not impossible. I have already placed 4 supreme treasures in the clan's vault, and more will be added in the future. Work hard, contribute, and you can exchange for them yourselves in the vault. The 4 supreme treasures Zuo Shanki had refined were already in the vault by Yue Ming's order. The exchange price was 100,000 treasure points, an amount a universe lord could reasonably accumulate with effort. Supreme treasures? The 5 gasped, eyes wide and bodies trembling. They actually had a chance to obtain one. Their breaths quickened. Other universe lords checked the clan vault's exchange list through the virtual network and indeed found the 4 supreme treasures listed. Temptation flashed across many faces. Even those who already possessed supreme treasures or had some being refined would never refuse more. We will live up to the clan's expectations. The newly promoted universe lords were too excited to say much else, silently vowing to gather enough treasure points as quickly as possible after the meeting. Ha ha! Everyone, forgive me. I'll seize the opportunity first. Great Axe laughed and immediately exchanged his points for an armor-type supreme treasure. Over endless years, Great Axe had contributed the most to the clan and thus held the largest pool of treasure points present. He already owned an offensive supreme treasure. Acquiring an armor supreme treasure completed his set, boosting his strength another notch. In the entire Universe C, few could rival him now. Don't hurry, Yue Ming continued. Besides the supreme treasures tailored for you, I had Zuo Shanki refine 6 or 7 more supreme treasures. They will also be placed in the clan vault. As long as you have treasure points, you won't need to worry about lacking supreme treasures to exchange for. Furthermore, our unification of the primordial universe means our resources will only grow. I've decided that from now on, at least 1 supreme treasure will be refined every era, 10,000 years, so everyone will continually have opportunities to exchange. A hush fell over the hall. An era was 10,000 years, and 1 supreme treasure per era guaranteed ongoing chances for all. Perhaps future treasures would suit individuals even better. The meeting moved on to discussions about the human race's future development, with everyone offering opinions. Soon, the giant axe meeting concluded. Yue Ming prepared to enter seclusion to attempt to shape the miniature universe within his body. Chapter 180, The Galaxy True Master's Face. Before going into seclusion, Yue Ming gathered Luo Feng and the others in the virtual universe. This time, Yue Ming had given them special access to his sermon, and the 3 of them benefited tremendously. Hong and Thunder God even broke through into Undying Spiritual God. Only Luo Feng remained stuck. His bottleneck was too solid. Without devising an ultimate secret technique, it would be nearly impossible for him to break through to Undying. Brother Ming, you know I cultivate the metal space fusion law. I want to go to the Elder God cult to cultivate for a while. Can you help me get a Beast God inheritance token? Luo Feng asked. He did want to go into seclusion at the Elder God cult. One reason was to deepen his comprehension of the metal space divine beast Tao, but more importantly, the Elder God cult housed countless unique life forms. He might find a suitable 3rd clone there. Before the human race unified the primordial universe, the Elder God cult had been the largest power in that region, always neutral and never meddling in its conflicts. Inside the cult, there were 8 beast god Daos. For fusion law practitioners, it was a veritable holy land. But entry required a beast god inheritance token. Such tokens were extremely precious and scarce across the human race. As a genius who appeared once every tens of millions of eras, Luo Feng qualified to apply for one, but actually getting it could take ages, and there were no guarantees. Luo Feng was not fastidious about procedure. Since he had a connection to Yue Ming, he naturally would use it. His talent more than met the qualifications for a token, and he wasn't about to waste an opportunity. You want to go to the Elder God cult? The metal space fusion law fits them perfectly. If you want to go, go. If Hong and Thunder God want to come with you, they can. I'll secure 10 spots. As for the Beast God Inheritance token, there's no need. I'll just put in a word. To Yue Ming, it was just a sentence. He didn't need a token. He trusted the three great ancestral gods of the Elder God cult would give him face. Brother Ming, you're incredible, Luo Feng grinned. Others would have to struggle endlessly to obtain a Beast God Inheritance token, but for Yue Ming, it was simple. 10 spots handed over. Luo Feng immediately thought of his teacher. My teacher, John Yan King, cultivates the Earth-space fusion law. Maybe I can give him a spot. He needs it more than I do. John Yan King had been stalled for a long time at the last step before Universe Exalt. He had attended the sermon in Primordial Chaos City, but still couldn't break through. His talent wasn't as extraordinary, and he'd failed to secure a Beast God Inheritance token for years. Although Lei Zi and I don't cultivate fusion law, Hong said, we should also go see the Elder God cult if we can. Hong had long heard of the Elder God cult's renown. If an opportunity came, he wanted to take it. Thunder God, who had been emotional about Yue Ming's fame, added, Yue Ming's reputation as the #1 expert in the Universe C is enormous. Even the legendary Elder God cult won't refuse him face. I wonder when I'll ever reach that level. Yue Ming suggested a specific life form for Luo Feng to consider. Luo Feng, your third clone hasn't been conceived yet, right? The Elder God cult has a special life form called the Sea of Nine Netherworlds. You should look into it. I think it suits you. If you agree, I'll ask the three great ancestral gods for some 9 Nether Sea water. Because of Yue Ming's intervention, the devouring storyline had been altered beyond recognition. Without his help, Luo Feng might never have acquired 9 Nether Sea water to conceive the 9 Nether clone. Of all Luo Feng's potential clones, the 9 Nether clone was the most important, an enormous divine body and, crucially, a creation innate secret technique, an innate ability that would immensely aid Luo Feng's divine power path. Without it, reaching a 100,000-fold gene level would be far more difficult. Sea of 9 Netherworlds? Luo Feng hadn't had permission to view many human race records, so he'd never heard of the Lord of 9 Nethers. Yue Ming used his authority to copy the record and sent it to Luo Feng. Luo Feng gasped when he read it. The Lord of 9 Nethers possessed a massive divine body, 12 light years in diameter, far beyond his imagination. Brother Ming, thank you. My third clone will be the 9 Nether clone. Luo Feng decided without hesitation. Even for a divine body that size, it was worth using his final clone slot. All right, I'll talk to the three great ancestral gods. When you arrive, ask them for it directly. Hong and Thunder God were equally stunned and envious when they learned the Lord of 9 Nether's scale. They couldn't create clones themselves, but they felt Luo Feng's gain keenly. After a few days of meeting, the group dispersed. They allocated the 10 spots for the Elder God cult. Luo Feng got 4, Hong and Thunder God 3 each. Luo Feng immediately contacted John Yan King with the good news. Luo Feng, you mean the Galaxy True Master gave you 4 spots at the Elder God cult, and you want to give one to me? John Yan King's voice trembled. For years, he had been stuck and failed to obtain an inheritance token. Beast God tokens were the Elder God cult's most precious legacies. The entire human race had only a handful. Only the most outstanding talent could legitimately apply. Yes. Brother Ming gave me 4 spots. Don't worry, the spots weren't taken from the race's limited inheritance tokens. Brother Ming simply put in a word with the Elder God cult, and they granted them directly. Luo Feng explained how the spots had been obtained. John Yan King was stunned into silence, then sighed. Perhaps only the Galaxy True Master could command such face. Word spread fast through the human race. Rumors ran. Luo Feng, Hong, and Lei had 10 spots at the Elder God cult. Where had they found so many inheritance tokens? The answer, that the Galaxy True Master had personally arranged it without consuming racial resources, confirmed what everyone suspected. Even the legendary Elder God cult bowed to him. Among fusion law practitioners and many undying cultivators, the news caused a frenzy. They fixated on the spots in the trio's hands and sent offers of unimaginable, sky-high prices to buy them. Still, because the matter involved the Galaxy True Master, no one dared act with ill intent. They could only circle and covet, powerless to interfere. Shift change, so only 2 chapters today.